doesn't she take it?
Because I loathe bananas.
Does the other one talk?
Only when she lets me.
Your luggage, ma'am?
Of course it's mine.
Intelligent creature. But then so were your mother and father.
You heard it up top. We are going ape in this very, very special episode as we return to our long form series, and we beg you, please don't call them monkeys on a very, very special episode. It's Escape from the Planet of the Apes here on Normies Like Us with your host, Dr. Colin Cornelius.
This is Dr. Mike Lowe.
And this is Jake Cornelius.
Whoa, we're gonna have to censor
Zira.
that. Yeah.
Or Jira. Or
Mama.
Armando.
Mama.
Jake Mondo.
Armando?
Jake Mondo.
I'm excited to talk about Jake Mondo.
Oh, our beloved is back. Our beloved is back.
And not to bury the lead, but he'll be back again. So we have more Armando to look forward to.
Wow.
But for now, yeah, we're looking at the third entry in the Planet of the Apes original. What's 5? Pentology? Right?
I think so, yeah.
Sure.
Must be.
Because they had the Aliens quadrilogy, so this is the Apes Pentology.
Right.
It's what we're
It
gonna
must
call
be.
it. Yeah.
It must be. Sextology, septology, octology, nonology.
I'm a sextologist or whatever they said in Pirates. Anyway.
That's if there's 6, yeah.
But yeah, so we're back at it again. We had April, Mape. I don't know what June could be, but you know. Right in with your comments. Had you guys seen this movie before?
Dr. Junis.
Dr. Junis. There we go. I like it.
Dr. Junis.
Well, Junius. Anyway,
There we
have
are.
you seen this prior to this rewatching, guys? Colin, I'll throw it to you first.
You know what? I'd seen it once before. Again, just to do my quick history, I didn't grow up with the Apes movies. I watched them like a year and a half ago, like very recently. Burned through all these. Must have been a half glance or whatever, because boy, we'll get into it. I just want to headline up top and say this film affected me so much, and the last 30 seconds in particular, I will say I cried my eyes out. So again, we will get into it. But how about you guys? Jacob, what was your past with this film?
Well, again, it continues that tradition of having a very bleak ending. But I have never seen this movie before until now. And like I said in earlier episodes, I'd never seen any of these original ones, including the first one. So this is all new territory for me. And this one was sort of talked up to me by different people as like, oh, this is the best one after the first one, basically. So I was very excited to watch it. And this movie's pretty crazy. So yeah, we'll talk about it.
And as I, mentioned, I kind of grew up on these. I've had the Blu-ray set. My dad introduced me to these, and we watched the entire kind of pentology, semi-frequently. We're fans of the camp, but also the sci-fi kind of. There's a lot of allegory and social commentary in the Apes films. Like each one is just kind of a new parable, as I've said. So, I like this film enough. But I love a fish out of water. So there's a lot of fun stuff in here. And a lot of less fun stuff, but like it's dramatically effective.
I would say the whole spectrum.
Yeah,
yes,
a little bit of everything.
It's got dress-up montages.
Well, a quick less fun thing. I'd love to know a child's reaction, Mike. If you're watching, let's say, 3 of these in a row, and it's the next week, and you're like, "Oh boy, Dad, throw on this third one," or whatever. You go, Planet of the Apes. I love these movies with all the monkeys, and you go, "Wait, how many monkeys are in this one? There's really not that many." Did that bug you?
Honestly, I think I was like more intrigued by it. I'm like, well, this is not at all what I was expecting. Because like it is like completely, it flips the premise before we really get into it. But I was surprised by that. And I think I was
Planet of the Humans.
Yeah, it really is like, it's the first movie backwards.
It's like the book, but flipped too. Like it's a modern society. And then, I mean, that's the setup, I guess.
They should call it Planet of the Humans.
That's actually such a better title. But yeah, maybe we should just dive into it then. We're already kind of getting in there. Let's go to the Planet of the Humans. Let's do that. Hop in the spaceship that I hauled out of a lake. Don't trust them. All right, right after this.
We're back here on Normies Like Us. We're talking Escape from the Planet of the Apes, not Ape Escape, not Escape from Monkey Island. All these escape-based
to the Planet
monkey
of the Humans.
things. That's right,
Escape
basically.
Yes. And I played the PlayStation game thinking it was going to be Ape Escape. Dang it, underrated.
I would love if we
But-
did an episode on Ape Escape.
That's the introduction of the dual analog stick. That's how you
Oh.
train people on it, was to catch monkey with analog. Anyway,
Wow.
but these monkeys, no, we're not going to call them that. We don't do that. They're apes.
We don't do that.
Specifically
Not this
apes.
They just want to be accepted.
Exactly. And where we
Why would
left
you call
off,
me that?
right? Oh man, I just got a little upset with the orderly. Okay. So when we last left off, Charlton Heston had decided he's had enough of ape society, so much enough of it that he decides launching a nuke and destroying the entire planet was the best course of action.
Right.
So that left
As
the
you
writers
do.
in a bit of a bind, right? How do we do a sequel? Because it made money, and
Sure.
time travel. We do time travel.
We do. Mike, we're going to do your great quiz at the end of this. I don't know how much, I don't want to spoil too much, but to go into a little bit of the background, it's 1971 when this comes out. The writer that you're specifically talking about, Paul Dane, who goes on to write Goldfinger, the James Bond film, is brought in and not only tasked with, hey, how do you fix this insane thing we ended that last movie with, but for the first time in basically cinema history, he is brought on and also instructed, can you create in your mind the idea of a franchise? Could you sort of like start thinking of 3 ideas actually for 3 movies? And for the first time, we kind of get, like you said, coherence, so much so that, again, we will see Armando later and characters that are introduced in this movie very weirdly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's almost like, there's like 2 sets of films. There's like the first 2, and then this is like, a new trilogy almost, because it does have clear cliffhangers and allusions to the next movie, and like it's building something by the time you get to the end of it. But
Right.
yeah, interesting. Like to have done the time travel, reset. Like we see that all the times nowadays. But this is 1971. It's like it's kind of
Right.
all right. One
Pretty
of the first
radical.
to
But
do
it does. It does take 2 of my favorite characters from the first 2, Zira and Cornelius, and says, "Well, what if they escaped from the Planet of the Apes before it blew up in Taylor's spaceship?" Right?
They're like, hey,
Yep.
remember in that last movie how we barely saw those characters everybody liked and we didn't
Yeah.
bring Roddy McDowell back? Well,
They
ring,
weren't in the
ring,
second
ring,
one
ring.
enough.
He wants to be in another one. Let's
Yeah.
have them survive. And again, yes, Jacob, the thematic writing to go like, what do you mean survive? The planet explodes.
And that's like
Right.
a big plot point of it. Like we know the planet explodes because Charlton Heston presses the button, but like there's a lot of them. Again, it's fish out of water. It's Little Green Men, DS9 episode. It's like they travel from their future where the apes have taken over to our present in the 70s where Taylor left
Yeah.
from. So yeah, again, they're the first
It's like Back to the
intelligent
Just
apes.
left from. Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
really is like that movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
So then they're
and obviously Taylor went from the past to the future, so you can go
Right.
back.
It's a
back in
loop. We're
time.
starting our loop basically.
Yeah.
right. And so there's so they crash land. They don't really,
Yeah.
they get captured by the government or whatever, but they're spending a lot of time like, how much do we divulge? There's like a lot of fish out of water tropes, but that's,
Right.
do we tell
And I
them
would
they blow
say-
up the world, and there's a lot of this going on.
Yeah. I would argue that the apes played this wrong. They were trying to, they didn't know who to trust with the humans, but
Mm-hmm.
I think they could have explained things a little better so that the humans weren't like, well, obviously we're going to have to kill these apes now because reasons. But,
Right.
obviously
Isn't the
movie
ultimate
starts.
lesson? I mean, they can't trust any humans, though, right? Isn't that?
Yeah. Well, except those
All
2
humans are violent.
nice psychologists.
I
Yeah,
think even
Lewis
them, I
Dixon.
don't know.
But basically the movie starts with them crashing in the water, much like the first movie, just backwards again. And the humans help them out of the space shuttle. And this is funny because they're all wearing space helmets, right? And so
Yeah.
they're like, oh, obviously these are our astronauts coming back to Earth. And then as soon as they take the helmets off, they're like, uh-oh, these astronauts are apenauts, right?
Yes. And then
Take
that's when
them to the zoo immediately. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the reveal that would be your act 1 and a 5-act show. Like the helmets come off and everyone goes, whoa,
Yes.
commercial, and we come back in.
Presumably, they maybe think that it's like Taylor had an accident and had to come back down,
Turned
I guess.
into a
But
monkey.
Jacob, well, maybe. Jacob, again, we're getting your first reactions on these things a lot. So in our last episode, we were like, the planet explodes. Where do you think this goes? And you were like, oh, I read a little bit. I think I know Zira, Cornelius, whatever. Okay,
Yeah.
sure. the opening shot to this movie, beautiful beach, same opening shot as the last film. Helicopter swoops in. Then we see the human military. Then we see the spacecraft. What are you thinking in this moment? Again, when you're like, no, I saw the Earth explode. What are you?
Right.
It's like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy, but I'm just like going with it. I see, in the credits. Well, this is the funny thing is the titles. I think the titles come up when they take off their helmets.
Awesome.
And all the
moment.
humans are like, what the fuck? And then it's like, Escape from the Planet of the Apes. And then we see the opening credits. And I'm like, okay, this movie kind of slaps already. I'm into it. I see Ricardo Montalban as Armando in the credits. I'm like, okay,
you're clapping.
that's crazy.
You stand up. You salute your screen.
Yes.
So I'm like, I'm looking forward to seeing him where he comes in. But if you're the humans in this scenario and you witnessed these events, would you think, oh, obviously these are apes that need to be taken to the zoo? Or would you think, like I would think, oh, these are some kind of ape-like aliens that have landed on Earth now because they came in a spaceship and everything. And they don't look exactly like real chimpanzees, right? They look like more humanoid chimpanzees. So I would be like, these are obviously aliens.
That's what my question is are we meant to suspend, like, are they supposed to, in the human characters' minds, look like regular sized chimpanzees? Like, because that gorilla doesn't really look that great either. But
we'll talk about that gorilla. Mike, I almost wonder if this film is the quote unquote canon version of how things move forward, that I agree with you. The way that we perceive them is supposed to be that it's like they look exactly identical to the animal we are familiar with in our timeline.
Yeah, more similar to kind of the reboot timeline. Like it's
so if one came down in a little outfit, Jacob, and you just saw a monkey in like a astronaut uniform like wave to you, you'd be like, well, that's just somebody dressed that silly little ape up, like that's like a gag.
Right.
That's cute. You wouldn't immediately be like, give it rights.
Yeah, and they're selectively like not talking right now because they don't know if they can trust the humans. So yeah,
that's
if it was just a little guy.
Yeah, the apes, they decide not to talk because they don't know who to trust. They're like, let's just be silent and figure things out for a while. I would argue that kind of hurts them more than it helps them, but we'll see how that goes.
The number one fumble they make is Zira saying, we are from the future. That is, they need to excise that whole part of their story, which Cornelius is like, girl, shut your fucking mouth.
I think maybe her accidentally saying dissect humans in front of the humans was a bad idea, but I would actually go the other way and I would explain everything and then be like, see,
wow,
we know this guy Taylor. We were really good friends with Taylor, so don't even worry about it.
Bright eyes.
Yeah,
I just wouldn't tell them the world exploded.
He was our slave. We loved Taylor.
Right.
Slave.
Yeah, but I would basically tell them everything.
Great. He blew up the world. He was crazy.
That's the thing. So I would say I was from the future, but I wouldn't say that the world blew up.
Okay, you said you'd say everything. So you are admitting stuff immediately. You're the Milo of our group. I'm the Zira.
I wouldn't get drunk on grape juice plus.
So that's what I'm saying. Would you say it if you were drinking grape juice plus? Like if you were tricked?
Plus. No, it's good. It's good.
Which we'll get to
here's
that.
The other thing. This is how you know this movie was made in 1971 or whatever, because you have a pregnant lady drinking wine at some point and no one's like, that's weird.
Hey, slow down, girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But we'll get to that.
But I won't smoke around you, out of respect. But drinking
we're not
going to
get down any of it.
Yeah. No. But we do. So basically, they do end up going to the zoo and they're being silent. We meet our animal psychologist.
They put them in a cage.
Yeah, they're in a cage. They're like, oh, there's a gorilla next by. They'll have company. Like they're, we hate gorillas.
Milo.
Right. Yeah, we have Dr. Milo, the third ape that went with them.
Which is he's allegedly salvaged Taylor's ship and kind of figured out how to reverse engineer it.
Yeah.
He's
which is already impressive because they don't have cars or anything in their world.
No.
Oh, absolutely. Real quick, just to shout out some actors, because it's returning actor Roddy McDowall is Cornelius, Kim Hunter, returning actress is Zira. Milo. This is Sal Mineo.
Yeah.
Mike, I don't know. Again, I don't want to step on your quiz. Sal Mineo, super famous at this time. So to kind of step in and do like a kind of 2-minute cameo, 10 minutes, how long is he in this picture?
Yeah.
Not long.
3 or 4 scenes, really.
Obviously, if you've seen Rebel Without a Cause, he's James Dean's little buddy in that movie, right?
Plato.
And James Dean, Natalie Woods. I mean, they were the triangle. Like they were.
And that was really actually a cursed movie because all three of those actors died before the age of 45, including Sal Mineo, who
did not have a good end.
I don't know if this is in your quiz, but this was his last movie role. He was stabbed by a mugger in West Hollywood outside of his apartment in 1976 at age 37. So, yeah, very sad.
Especially if you think Rebel Without a Cause, the famous knife fight scene, it's like a weirdly ironic tragedy, kind of what happened to Sal Mineo too.
Right.
But yeah, he's huge at this time. Yeah, there's a lot of...
He was the first ever bisexual, I think, ever maybe.
I mean,
yeah, he invented bisexuality.
He invented it.
I think he might have, maybe.
That's what Rebel Without a Cause is about, right?
Right, he's probably in love with James Dean. Yeah.
I believe they were together for a little while during that movie.
There's a story that James Dean, during the mansion scene, was like, yo, Sal, like, look at me how I'm looking at Judy in these scenes. Like, so who knows? But, yeah, tragic, but a huge actor. Like, the cast here is, again, Ricardo Montalban, you know, has already been in Space Seed at this point, you know.
We're 10 years post his Star Wars episode. We're 10 years away from his Star Wars movie. That's
Star Trek.
It's Trek, yes.
I'm sorry, Star Trek, yes.
This is his pit stop in between. He does.
Yeah, this is before Wrath of Khan.
Yep.
And he's playing in the character that he plays in this. I was not expecting because I thought he was going to be like a bad guy, like Khan, but he was actually one of the nicest guys in this movie. So,
I mean, depending on how you feel about circuses, he might have been a con man, but he seemed pretty nice to me.
Well, he's nice to the apes, at least.
It's good, Mike. It's good.
You want me to take I love his, you know, he's introduced as going to be like refuging them, but when he's like, you want me to take an ape and risk the government? I'd love to. It's like,
I'd love to.
They basically call him a saint in this movie. They're like, you're a saint now.
Saint Armando. Let's go back. So we introduced our three chimpanzees who are brought together. They take off their astronaut uniforms. They put on just their straight up green jumpsuits from the Planet of the Apes. Another thing where I'd be like, let's not wear these. We will get in trouble or something.
Yeah, they brought luggage with their clothes in it from the future.
She has a bag.
Obviously, we're going to want to change any of these clothes.
She opens her giant bag up. You're like, what did you bring?
I mean, in the general, it has to be that we're just to presume they look like regular chimpanzees, because the general guy is like, are they dressing? I didn't, you know, it's like, yes, they're dressing. Like, there's a whole conversation about the clothes in the suitcase.
He apologizes. Then he hands them the oranges. Well, I'm told they don't eat meat. They're vegetarians. We brought them oranges.
Yes, basically they're treating them like regular chimpanzees, just very smart ones that have learned how to mimic human behavior and stuff. And they're like, these apes are amazing. But obviously the gorilla next to them in the cage is not a real gorilla. The only real apes in this movie, I think, were the babies, right? Because when they show the babies, they're like, that's a real baby chimp, obviously.
That's why I cried at the end.
Human baby.
I didn't like what they were implying about shooting that little baby chimpanzee that just,
that was very sad.
It also really made me think of our friend Gordy's home or Gordy's planet, whatever that thing's called. I was like, don't you kiss that fucking monkey, Zira. You're going to get your face ripped off.
Yeah. In that way, I was thankful that it was a really bad gorilla costume, and like we only had a brief appearance of the baby chimpanzee, because I did make me think of Gordy's home or whatever, and like,
well, so
right, but I think a baby that size wouldn't be able to really hurt a human, I don't think. But
it reminds me of the industry in which Nope was criticizing of
they're all
in
so strong, Jacob. Don't you dare underestimate.
And even the chimp in the circus at the end that has the baby, I think that's fake, a human too.
Oh, that's a woman.
It's another great.
So let me ask you guys real quick. So why is this the case? This is the third film in a hugely successful franchise. I understand this is a period where, people roll their eyes and go like, sequels, who gives a shit about that? Don't even put money into it or whatever. But if we're making this movie where typically 2/3 of the budget is going to makeup, and instead there's just 2/3 chimpanzee actors, but really just 2 chimpanzee actors. Mm-hmm. Why did their makeup look so bad, and why does the gorilla look so bad? Why do the special effects look so terrible?
In 2.
Yeah.
In this movie.
They look in this movie? Really bad masks in 2 as well. And I think
I thought they looked okay in this, or the main 2.
Every time Zira's face was on screen, I would get upset. I didn't like how she looked at all. Cornelius I could tolerate. Zira's face, there was something about it.
I did read all of the films, besides maybe the first one, were shot in the winter, and it was like the temperature had to do with kind of whether or not the prosthetics were looking puffed up or not. So just something with the time of year, and like it affected the way
They do look puffy.
Yeah, so it might have had something to do with just shooting during the winter, even though it's LA winter, but you know.
I was wondering if they like ADR'd all of the lines, because sometimes when the apes talked, it doesn't look like it was matching what their mouths were doing. So I wonder if they were just couldn't get good sound quality from the line readings when they were shooting it, so they had to ADR all the dialogue, but I'm not sure.
I mean, movies nowadays ADR most of their dialogue anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's common.
Right.
They probably got what they could live, but sometimes it does, like, especially Roddy McDowell, like you hear through the mask. Like it feels like if they did ADR it, like he was wearing it anyway.
Like put the mask on.
And he's
I did
also,
my
just to
message.
shout out Roddy real quick, he's the only one who's doing shit where he's like constantly like picking up stuff like around the cage and sort of like examining it and stuff and sort of like, you know, just like, he's like really living in the world. You can tell why he's the guy who persists through this franchise.
Yeah, and I love him in all these movies. He's really great. Again, he really kind of has these mannerisms and physical stuff, but I do think Zira steals this movie as far as character. Like, I love Roddy in this, but she is crushing it. in
Yeah.
this, with the
She
comedy
wants
and
that
the drama.
grape juice plus. Give her that.
Ma'am,
grape
your
juice
bag,
plus.
of course, it's mine. Like, there's some really good, funny stuff too.
Yeah.
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 I'm from the Pet Society. Why do you think we're pets? Of course I do.
Right.
Guess that's a slang
Well, that's why
phrase that went out of
this
style.
movie's so sad, because there is some funny moments in it, and it's just like if these humans could just chill for like 2 seconds, then maybe these apes and humans could get along.
It
But then they're like,
reminds
no, we
me.
have to kill these things.
It reminds me very much of another sci-fi comedy film we talked about that has some world-saving undertones where it's like, hey, we're having fun here, but this is a very serious topic. I'm talking Star Trek, of course. I'm not talking about Ricardo Montalban. I'm talking about Save the Whales, right? It's very much got that weird energy of like, well, we're
That's what I was
walking the
thinking.
streets and I'm having fun, but it feels weird.
And we get Jerry Goldsmith back for our score, and it's really good music. There's some funky
It's
70s
really good.
stuff. There's some good stuff
That's
in this one.
He's got to do variety this time. It's so different than just the weird staccato, that we're used to in this franchise. You're right,
a cool
Mike,
mix
that's
of that.
incredible.
And then he would go
I'm
on
just
to
like,
do,
why? Yeah, go ahead.
just other Star Trek, and I can't remember the name of the previous composer, but he would also do Star Trek 4. Like a lot of Star Trek composing tied to this. So it's just an apt comparison.
Speaking of Star Trek, I wanted to bring this up because I found this out, and I wanted to see if you guys heard of this.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a comic book crossover of Planet of the Apes and Star Trek called Star Trek Planet of the Apes: The Primate Directive.
Yes. I actually, on my quiz, I mentioned that.
Sorry if this is ruining the quiz.
No. The quiz from last time, I teased that in that comic, they get a tricorder that Milo allegedly is using to help them learn stuff.
I maybe forgot that you brought that up.
Have we seen Milo? Was Milo in the first one or the second one? Okay.
No. But this comic book, and sorry if I forgot that you brought it up last time, but it bridges the events of the second and third films.
Whoa.
But you have basically, Zira and Cornelius and Dr. Milo meeting the cast of Star Trek, meeting Captain Kirk and, Spock and all them. So
Zira, you're beautiful. Kirk,
give me a kiss.
no.
You're the second human I've kissed.
Third one I fucked, because of course Kirk came down here and had his way with me.
Caesar, who's your father? Milo, I guess. But
Milo.
It would be the first time he abandoned his son to, do space adventures. I'm just saying, I wouldn't put it past Kirk.
They named their baby after this weird rando that we met who kind of just gives a speech about like,
they love Dr.
everybody,
Milo, they're like,
be cool. We gotta lie. We gotta be. Oh no, it's a gorilla. Watch out.
This was kind of funny because it's like that was such a weird way for him to be killed off, where he just was grabbed by this gorilla.
Didn't it seem like he probably wasn't hurt that much, but the humans probably took that as a moment to be like, let's study their brain. Like, let's crack this one open.
That's what and then just the random orderlies were like, all right, take them away. It's like, are you not aware that you're witnessing a scientific discovery, or you just
take them away?
Is it a normal body?
Throw them in the garbage.
Right.
Right.
But it's kind of like showing that, maybe the apes don't know their own strength, because later there's that scene where Cornelius kind of attacks that orderly and then
Mhm.
doesn't think that he's like, oh, I was just angry because he's
I
like calling
bonked
some
him
monkey
on
or
the
whatever.
head.
And they're like, oh, that guy died.
He's dead, Cornelius.
Which
You
like,
killed
is
him.
kind
That'd be
of
so
called-
fucking good.
It's great, yeah, and like that's like a beat that is kind of called back in the James Franco Planet of the Apes, where like Caesar doesn't recognize his own strengths,
Didn't-
right?
Mike,
Right.
didn't this movie really feel like that one because it's so much of humans putting smart apes on trial and sort of being
Yeah.
like, what's your story, smart ape?
Even some of like, so they explain they have to do a tribunal. Like the military is like, we got to interview you now that like Zira hates bananas, and it's like they're doing these puzzles, right? And then she speaks out, I
Right.
loathe bananas, and then they're like, oh,
Why
you're
does
smart
she
apes.
not want the banana?
Well, that's the thing is they
Fucking hate
decide we're not going to talk until we can figure out what's going on here.
Right.
And then they're doing these psychological tests to like measure their intelligence as apes, and they're like, oh, these are like the smartest apes we've ever seen. And then
Whoa.
finally she blurts out, yeah, I loathe bananas, which is the sort of the get your hands off me, you damn dirty apes.
You're
This
right.
movie.
That's a really great thing to point out. Now, let me
Yeah.
ask you guys a question here, because this, asserts that they have intelligence, that they're blah, 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 capable of higher thought or whatever. And Jacob, you were like, their plan is, they're like, let's wait. We need to put this together. It's not them that puts it together. The human man is like, let me tell you this story about a guy who paints himself. And he basically tells this story. Now, what is he
This made
saying?
me more
First
confused.
of all,
He's trying to
Yes, thank
explain
you.
the concept of
But-
time travel.
This is him explaining that, like, basically the energy from the Omega device mixed with the planet exploding is what pushed them through time, is what he's saying. What does the
Basically,
painting metaphor have to do with
infinite regression is what he calls it, I think.
Yeah.
And maybe this
Okay.
made more sense to people in the 70s where they were like,
Doing drugs.
time travel was like sort of a new concept to them. So they're like, we got to explain for these 70s
it?
audience
What he introduces is a concept. Media
he's trying to
never
explain it,
expanded
but
upon.
it
There's
makes
no
it
other book
only
that's
more
like time
confusing.
regression. Yeah, it's
Right.
like insane.
Yeah,
It's like-
the way he explains it, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
It kind of reminds me of Interstellar. Like somehow you're the observed and the observer. Like, and that's hard to like think. And like fourth dimensional beings are outside of time. So I don't know if it's trying to like you can step back infinitely, like regress far enough back that you're outside of time. And then you see
Yeah.
the timeline. I don't know.
it was
but
just a
it's
really
wild.
confusing way to explain it when they could just be like, yeah, they traveled in time from the future to now, and they're from the future.
But he's
Right.
throwing this out there because they've said at this point we're from 3946 or whatever, or are the humans going like, we know that this is Taylor's escape pod, so something is not adding up here.
I
Yeah,
think
well, the apes
has
are like,
to be
yeah,
that.
we're from, apes are smart, humans
They do
are dumb,
say, okay,
and we're, and then yeah, they're like, we're from the future, basically.
right.
Which is, if I was the apes, I would immediately have been like, when they crash landed, when I took off my helmet, I would have been like, look, we come in peace. I can talk. I know that's really shocking to you guys.
You wouldn't know
Get
you're
over
from
it.
the future. You wouldn't understand. You got in that ship. This is why Zira grabbed a bag, because she's like, we're going to go live
We're
in
gonna go
space.
to a different planet.
No,
Yeah.
we're not. The life is over. The three of us are going to go
Right.
up there and get away from this explosion and starve to death or die or do whatever after the 2 weeks in outer space. There's no their level of intelligence was, hey, we're starting to figure out shock collars and stuff. It is not, they cannot,
Yeah.
there's no conceptual. Remember,
But
they
they
were
know
birds.
Taylor
They had a
came
whole
from-
conversation about how only birds should be allowed to fly. Now they're in space.
The
Well, that's what
concept
happens
of
when
flight
Kirk
was
comes.
like new to them. Yeah. The
Yeah.
Star Trek cast helped them, but they know Taylor
They
is
have the
from the
tricorder,
future.
you're right.
Taylor is from the past, right? They know that, so they took
Yeah.
Taylor's ship. And they're like,
And they
well,
But
took
they
parts
would
of
just
Brent's ship.
assume they swapped places? I mean, that's so crazy.
after they land, they're like, did you notice the date thing was ticking down from
Backwards,
the current year
yeah.
backwards?
I
So
guess
they kind of
that's
had an understanding
true.
of that, but
I
yeah,
guess
it's a
that's
long way from like being
true.
amazed by a paper plane in the first movie to like
Yeah.
traveling in space. Yeah.
Well, from what I understand in the comic, I haven't read it, but man, we are talking a lot of comics lately. It was like apparently a test flight, and so basically the gorillas are going to war against Charlton Heston and Beneath the Planet of the Apes. And while they see that going on, they're like, let's see if this thing flies just in case. And they see
They
the planet
just
blow
happen
up.
to be in space.
They just happen to be
while
in
they were-
space.
That was
And
good
they're like,
timing for them.
Well,
Yeah.
shit, I guess
That
you
was
time
great
travel?
timing.
Yeah, I don't know. But Dr. Milo has been described as like the Da Vinci of the apes. Like he's
Yeah.
so ahead of
I'm
his
not
time.
getting any of that.
No, it's because he gets
Dr.
killed by
Milo
the
is so
gorilla.
smart.
that way.
He fixed up this space shuttle and managed to blast off into space, even though they don't have cars or they ride on horseback in their
He's
time.
a
But,
genius.
yeah.
They skipped
Einstein.
cars.
Yeah.
They just went
And it's
straight
just
to time
sad
travel.
that he got taken out by that gorilla. But
Oh, I got squeezed.
And I guess as a writer, the function of Milo is like, how did Zira and Cornelius? They don't know how to do this. Like, well, this guy Milo did, but he's dead now. Now we can just continue the
I'm
movie.
an archaeologist,
Dr.
damn it.
Milo. I wish Dr.
Yeah.
Milo was here. That's what they
Yep.
keep saying. Like, but so
Justice for Milo.
Zira and Cornelius. It's funny because they're like psychologists that study humans, and then they meet these two psychologists that study animals. These animal
Mhm.
psychologists, which are also like a husband and wife team.
These
So-
are the human versions of them. And also,
Yeah.
Jacob, earlier when they make their admission, I'm sorry, just because you said they're husband and wife, they say they're husband and wife, and a priest frowns at them when he's in like the group of like people.
wedded
He
wife.
seems
Yeah.
very bugged that they're married.
Well,
They're
chimps
allowed
can't
to
marry.
be married.
Yeah, my lawfully
Yeah.
wedded wife. And the priest is very upset.
They were
He's like,
having a baby, and then they try to abort it. Like there's so many weird
that's the
things
thing.
happening in this
Yeah.
movie.
So then you
Because
have
we
this
learn the
other
future,
character, this other doctor, this human doctor who like really wants to kill these apes, and that's sort of the Dr. Zaius of this movie, the human
And this
Dr.
is
Zaius.
Dr. Haslane.
Yes,
Yes.
Dr. Haslane, who's like
Eric
at first
Braden.
like, yeah, he's trying to get to know them better, figure out like what their goal might be, or like what what they're hiding, because they seem to be sort of hiding stuff in this commission, and then
Mhm.
he finds out by basically getting Zira drunk that the world is going to explode in like 2,000 years, and then because of that, he's like, well, obviously we have to kill these apes.
He
before-
goes to the president, and this is how you know this is a movie in the past before like Donald Trump and stuff, because the president's like, no, I have to do the right and moral thing. But he
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
says to the president, in the year 3946, the planet will explode. We have to kill these two monkeys.
we have to
and the
kill and
president
their
says-
unborn baby. Yeah,
That's
God.
true. The president says, you want me to go to the UN and say in 2,000 years the planet's going to explode, we have to do something now? He's like, who gives a shit? Which is exactly what he should say.
Yeah.
well, that seems like a lot of the humans are like that, but this one guy is like, no, we really need to kill these apes. Because
No,
even
and
by
he's
the
like-
end, he's like pursuing them single-handedly and like, I'm gonna shoot these and murder these apes because they just need to be stopped.
I will shoot a baby in a bag, a wrapped up little baby, like 4 times a squib
Yeah.
will go off. It is
I
horrifying.
think
Yeah.
his reasoning basically is that like, well, obviously if we allow these smart apes to keep procreating, then eventually they're going to take over control of the earth from the humans. But it's like there's only 2 of them. They have 1 baby. How many more babies could they have that they're going to,
Right.
eventually outnumber humans on the planet? Like it seems kind of unlikely.
And gene pool wise, it's like I don't think nature wants, inbreeding. So like we can't what do you need 16 people to create like a stable colony or whatever according to science?
Sure.
Some shit like that. I don't know the number,
But
but
basically, he's like,
it's like,
what if
genetically it's not a good idea.
no? But what if their baby then has babies with other unsmart apes and makes
I
more
see.
smart apes, and then eventually there's so many that they control the world.
What if we
That's not
try
even
to
how-
cure Alzheimer's?
Yeah.
they're
Like, what?
hastening.
Well,
Huh?
So the explanation of how it happened is sort of shown in this movie, and they say basically there's a virus that like kills a bunch of cats and dogs.
Mhm.
They have
Kills
to kill all these
pets,
cats
yeah.
and dogs. Yeah. So obviously humans need some kind of pet, so they start making apes their pets.
What you don't realize is monkeys are 10 times smarter, or apes are 10 times smarter than cats and dogs. I'm
Right.
watching at home and I'm nodding, going like, yeah, that sounds scary.
True.
Sure, 100% they are.
And then eventually one of them said no, and his name was
Mhm.
Aldo. And I was like,
Aldo.
when they were saying Aldo, I was like, I thought they were going to say Caesar.
I thought they were going to say lawgiver.
But maybe Aldo will become the lawgiver.
Aldo. His name was Aldo. That's
Aldo.
such a weird, interesting setup that we don't get a payoff to that in this one. But again, for
Yeah.
future
And has there
movies,
been any
it's gonna be good.
references in the new series, I wonder, to Aldo? Because we've had like
Aldo.
Caesar and, Bright Eyes and different
Caesar.
references to the old.
Oh, where's
we've never
Milo,
had an
Jacob?
ape named,
Where's Milo?
Yeah,
there
what
should
is
be an ape named
Milo?
Milo in one of these new movies.
And me, little Milo.
Huh. Now I don't know what William H. Macy's character's name was in the Kingdom, but
His name is
his name was
insane.
like Trelawney
not
or
Aldo
something.
or
His name is like Treviathan. It's like
Yeah,
the
Trevathan,
craziest
Trevathan.
name I've ever heard. I was like, it's what?
Yeah.
But I do like seeing like the way the new movie. We'll get there when we watch them through this watch through. But it's like even the thing with we took chimps as pets. Like that's what Dave Franco does basically. Like
We're still on the rails, dude. I feel
Right.
very safe with this franchise that it all actually does make sense.
yeah, we're like building the lore. We're now confirming that they knew that they evolved from primitive apes of our time,
Yeah.
and they were just suppressing that. Like that's
Because
what they admit to.
Cornelius, if you remember, Cornelius is like an archaeologist, so he found all this like secret history that Dr. Zaius was trying to hide.
Forbidden
But
files.
he knows the truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mama.
But the thing is, this
Mama.
one doctor, Haslane, is like, we have to kill these apes because they're going to cause the end of the world. But it seems like, so basically he's arguing that these apes going back to the past is what starts this whole thing. But really it seems like that's going to happen either way. And these two apes have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, or maybe he's kicking it off by like you're saying, like following predestination. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just now that they're here, like that's supposed to be in 2,000 years, but if they do procreate, then it's just going to hasten the death of mankind. Maybe it'll happen in 500 or something instead of 2,000. I don't know.
Meanwhile, fucking Taylor's up there just smoking all his cigars, being like, fuck that planet I just left. Which, meanwhile, 1971 Earth seems fine. What was he so negative about?
You got seesaws
they
in
are
the living
pretty-
room. It looks fun.
Yeah.
They are like, we have to kill these apes, though.
Well, I don't know.
I say let the apes live.
I agree. And Armando would agree with you.
Well, Armando is like, he gets very religious and he's like, he's trying to go against the word of God, which, as we know, predestination is all God's doing. So
I don't need Armando's reasoning. I just like what he does. I don't need to hear what's the beliefs behind it.
That's true. We had one criticism when the Cardinals like, you're married, and then we have Armando being like, but God is the way. It's like, hold on.
And then abortions. There's a lot of weird religious stuff in here. But so let's get to that real quick to say, so as the villainous scientist is getting more and more mad at them, they are becoming celebrities. They are just like going around town, and they're like in New York, and there's the fashion montage. Cornelius looking tight as hell in the suit he puts on, and the way that every time he sees Zira dress up, he's like, "Ooh, baby," and he like blows her kisses. Like, I love that too. I'm like, I love these two. They're great.
Yeah, they're in California
captivate
now,
the world.
like Hollywood, Beverly Hills. Yeah.
Yes.
With their humor and their personalities, they've captivated audiences everywhere.
Let's say, real quick, in those hearings and stuff, Zira comes off a little rougher because, again, none of them are kind of following Dr. Milo's let's just hide ourselves philosophy. She's a little more out there and abrasive. Meanwhile, Cornelius keeps like cutting a rug and saying like, my wife, can you believe her? And they all like love him for it. They're like, Cornelius, you're hilarious.
Yeah, does the male talk?
He has that
only
one
when
line
she lets me. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
what I was gonna say.
There's some feminist stuff going on here. It's very weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, only when my wife lets me. But Zira has always been the stronger, sort of more opinionated of the two, where
she
she's
constantly
always like,
talks him
"No,
into
we have
doing
to
this stuff. Yes, we need to help people.
We have to stand up for what we believe in." Cornelius is just like, "Come on, let's just go with the flow. Don't piss people off.
Don't rock the boat."
Dr. Zaius, if he was on that thing and stepped off that show, he would have fucking blown his brains out 10 seconds in and been like, fuck this place. Fuck you,
Humans
dirty
everywhere,
humans.
right?
Yeah, bang, bang.
Yes. But yeah, they've endeared. There's like, I love the fashion montage, by the way. It's my favorite piece of music, I think, in this whole bit.
Yeah.
So jazzy.
Yeah, they get put up in a penthouse. They're like super famous. They're socialiting.
Yeah, they get this
stuff.
nice.
Cornelius
nice
is even going to
apartment.
go to his first heavyweight bout tonight. He's going to see a boxing match. Oh, savagery.
Right.
Human savagery.
Beastly.
They laugh. Beastly.
Yeah, they're
they
like
laugh.
showing them like human things, right? And the first thing they think of is he wants to see a boxing match, obviously.
And we know
they give her
apes
like
don't
a
hurt each
tour of the
other.
museum. Yeah.
Right.
But that's why it's so abrasive when he sees human violence. That he's like, this is even entertainment for you humans. Again, it's another nail in the coffin for them of like,
Right.
What a doomed
right.
society we are. Ugh.
I mean, he even says man will kill each other, but could not kill their dog, right? You know, like that's why they needed pets, you know, and it's, again, same kind of stuff. Ape does not kill ape, but
Ape
humans
shall not
do.
kill ape. Yeah.
Right. He will make a desert of
I'm
your
joining
home
the
and
apes,
his.
okay? I've had
Yeah.
enough of these humans.
So far, I'm team ape.
I did I tell you guys I converted to lawgiver, that I follow those teachings
Converted
now?
lawgiver.
Yeah, of course.
That's great.
I did.
I believe
Yeah.
the lawgiver.
I had my
and,
first communion. It was at a Jungle Gyms.
Was it a orange or a banana?
It was, oranges. I would never eat a banana.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
But I love when they get that nice apartment, they get all those gifts that people have given them, and then you have like Cornelius, he's watching TV, he's like, this is great. Zira's taking a bath, and he's like, how's that bath? And she's like, it's great. It's very wet, but very nice.
Yeah, he's got his little feet up, his, you know, he's watching
He's wearing his like dressing gown. Yeah, he's having a great time. That's what I'm saying. Like, just let these apes live. Like, why do we have to kill them? You know, they're having a great time.
And at some point, they do another committee hearing, and they're like, "All right, they can live, but we must abort the baby."
Yeah, first they want to sterilize them,
and then Halsin's
abort
just
the
like,
baby.
"Fuck it." He takes matters into his own hands. But they're at one point like, "You can live, but yeah, just let the apes live. They're chilling, dude. Why you gotta?"
Yeah.
So, but we got to talk about the big trick, because he interviews her. They have the wine plus, but he puts some kind of truth serum or something in there. She gets more fucked up. He records it. He plays this recording, and he keeps playing this one part where he says, "You were a scientist. What did you do with humans?" "I loved studying humans. I loved studying them." Dissect. What were you going to say there? Dissect.
What could you be trying to say?
Yeah.
I studied their non-working pituitary glands in their brain, and the speech centers, and I loved performing brain surgery on humans, you weak idiot slaves. And they're like, "So what did you mean by all that?" And she's like, "I was drunk."
Yeah.
He gave me the grape juice plus, which is they seem to not have alcohol in their world, so they don't understand what it is.
They just had juices. They didn't have wine.
So at first, when they first go to their apartment, they're having like a party, and the guy's like, "Oh, this is like grape juice plus, and it's wine." And so she's never really had wine or gotten drunk before. So,
and she's pregnant.
Yeah. That's how you know it was made in the 70s, because nobody cares that this pregnant lady is drinking wine.
And Zira, have one of these cigarettes. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought this subplot was a lot bigger deal, like from when I had remembered this movie. Like I thought she just really got super hooked on alcohol, but it's like a little bit minor. But when you see Haslin, he's like, "Oh yeah, this is actually really good for pregnant people." Like that just to me alludes to him being a villain. Like maybe it will fuck up the
what
baby,
a bastard.
Because she didn't disclose she was pregnant to the people at the party. That was like nobody knows.
No, that's true.
But he's being a villain about it.
But also he's just trying to like get her drunk so that she'll like tell him the secrets that she's like hiding.
Yeah.
We're from the future, and the Earth explodes, and we know Kurt Taylor. And he's great, and it's good, and
we love Taylor.
Handsome, and he kissed me. He actually kissed me one time. And you're like, if you were that guy, you'd be like, "What the fuck is any of this?"
We saw a white light, and then the Earth exploded, and it was great.
It was crazy, but we landed, and now we're here, and I'm on a couch, and he's going on Johnny Carson tomorrow. Oh, what a life you live.
Seriously.
So then they reconvene this commission to be like, check this out. They're hiding stuff from us. And this proves that they're like bad stuff. But this guy, I feel like it's just this one guy that like really gets obsessed with them, having to stop these apes, and everyone else is just like chill. Even the president's like, let's get all the facts.
They're fucking
first.
Ben Affleck and J-Lo, their generation. Like, let them just live, man. What are you fucking dragging them to Congress every week for?
Yeah, even because the other doctor, Dixon, is like, yeah, well, we did that with apes when they're primitive here. Like, I get it.
Right.
Like, it's fine. Like,
the only thing is, like,
it's 2,000 years from now. None of this matters, is what I would keep saying.
Yeah.
You're trying to stop the apocalypse in 2,000 years. Like, none of us will be here. Like, that's their problem 2,000 years from now. That's not our problem, right?
Yeah.
But then he goes on about this. Oh, it's always, later we'll figure this out. Later we'll figure out pollution, nuclear war.
Yeah, he gives a climate change speech. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
So his motivations are kind of complex in that way, where he's like, we never solve the problems when we need to, but he's has one very specific one that I think he should let go of, but he won't.
But also, he's
it's
just
it's
assuming
harder.
that the apes caused the world to be exploded, but it was actually Taylor the whole time that did it.
Yes,
A human.
and his wording is that at the end of the day, the thing he's demanding is we need to abort this ape. It's like, I don't want to abort a baby, dog. Just relax.
These are
Yeah, this
intelligent,
baby's gonna be
sentient
fine.
beings. Chill. Plus, God makes all of his creatures, you know what I mean? Let that baby be born.
That's
Right,
right, dog.
right.
That's the stance we believe here
That's
on this
right.
podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That's
The
right.
lawgiver brought that life into the existence.
We would never go
Well,
against
yeah.
the lawgiver.
The ape soul begins at conception, baby.
That's right.
But it
that's
is funny
right.
just how this movie just mirrors the first movie in that like the humans have sort of the same prejudice against the apes that the apes had against the humans and everything. It just shows that like, why can't we all get along? Like let's all just be friends.
Here's the flip.
Mhm.
Here's the incredible, great screenwriting flip, Jacob. We talked about that first movie. You were like, whoa, the last third's a court drama? That's weird. The first third of this is a court drama. The action is the last third, right? It's a total flip. So I think that's what makes it successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a big action sequence at the end. It sort of ends the same way as the first movie, where these two human psychologists kind of help them escape, give them a gun, just like they give Taylor a gun.
He requests one. He says, "What if we need to kill ourselves?" But I don't think that's what Cornelius is going to use it for. I think he's probably going to shoot a bunch of human beings.
Yeah.
That's why it's like so dark, but it has obviously comedic moments, but then it gets so dark at the end when it's like, oh, we accidentally killed an orderly. Now we're going to escape. All the humans are trying to come after us and kill us now. Oh, if they catch us, they're definitely going to kill us, right? And Dr. Dixon is like, yeah, probably. That's why I got you this gun. And also, they've had their baby by now because we skipped over. So basically, they escape. They go to this circus, which is where Ricardo Montalban is the owner.
They
of
meet the most
circus.
well-dressed man who's ever appeared on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's just
And this
walking
is just
through
a guy
finger guns
that-
with his staff. Like everybody loves this
He
guy.
is
He's the greatest.
Human sex appears on our. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and he just had his gorilla or his ape in his zoo or in his circus give birth, and he's like, it's the first ape birth in a circus ever.
And he notes it's on record. There's a record of it because that's important for an ape birth certificate, basically. There's an ape birther sort of subplot to this.
That way he can
Well,
have
it's very
his,
convenient for our
alibi.
heroes, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this is just a guy that these two ape scientists know.
Mhm.
So they're like, okay, we'll take you to this guy. He's safe. He'll like shelter you guys while you have the baby and everything. And meanwhile,
quick check-in again, Jacob. You're watching this. The apes are on the run. These are, again, characters you love. You're like, where are they going to go? It cuts to a circus with Khan, the villain you know and love, is the leader of it. Are you just at this point again like, great, yeah, absolutely?
I thought he was going to be a villain or something, and then he was like a nice guy. And I was like, well, he's so charming and suave.
He's not in it that much, but when he is, he's very charming and very suave. Yeah.
You're just down for the ride immediately,
Yeah. I will hide these refugee apes, I'll lie to the police, whatever I got to do.
My
Just
life
count
on
me
the
in.
line for these apes.
His speech to me is like, my very good friends. And if we are to be dominated, may it be by apes like you. It's like, damn,
Yeah,
bro.
he really loves Zira.
Very
He's
intelligent.
like,
Much
you are my
like your
favorite ape
parents.
I've ever met. And he especially loves Zira. And I was like, damn, he loves this ape. But even when they're escaping, I like when they're escaping the compound that they're being held at and
escaping from the Planet of the Apes.
The Planet of the Apes. Yeah. And remember when Cornelius, they have that gate that opens and he has to go push the button and the guard's talking on the phone. He's like, good night, Charlie.
Yep.
He sees the human do it first. He's like, I already said good night. That was
so funny. God.
Oh,
They're running for their lives. The
They have
humans are
become
tracking
refugees.
them. Yeah. They're like, check it out. Go to this harbor, this shipyard, and hide out on this old ship. They get there, they're like, this is so dirty and gross. I hate it here. It smells like it smells like old fish.
The baby's hungry. Well, there must be a clean place around here somewhere. Let's take a look.
Mhm.
Right. Meanwhile, this scientist is chasing them and drives to this boat. He's got a gun.
Parks,
He's like, I'm gonna kill.
Get
these
his
apes.
guns out of the trunk. Very important to point out. He has lost
Yeah.
his mind at this point, Jacob. He's
just like, look, if
completely
the president
unhinged.
won't do it, I'm gonna have to murder these
Yeah.
apes to save humanity.
Why are you
Crazy.
doing this? You're turning
Yeah,
into
why
like
are you-
Lee
just calm
Harvey
down.
Oswald. Like, stop.
He does have an arc. He seems like he's just chilling, but slowly, yeah, he just gets more and more like obsessed with
But
this
they
idea.
they don't like humiliate him. It's not like they are counter to some sort of belief that he had at the start of the film that he feels he
Right.
needs to reinforce. It is truly, you told me 2,000 years from now the planet will end, and I plan on having a bunch of grandchildren, so I cannot let that happen.
Right.
He
No, he
just
completely,
literally-
his demeanor kind of changes towards the apes. Because at first he's like hanging out with the apes and like, okay, these guys are cool. But then when she lets it slip that like, oh, the future, the world's going to be destroyed and stuff, he's like, hold on, wait a minute. And you're pregnant? I don't know about
Nope.
this. We're going to have to
time for a
kill
hate
that
crime.
baby.
Basically, that's what
Yeah.
he does. He just enacts a hate crime against the apes. That's his agenda.
Right.
You cannot exist.
And that's the ending of this movie to continue the tradition of the bleakest ending possible for all
It's
these
so
movies.
horrifying.
It's crazy heavy
Um,
because I had forgotten. Like I knew about Armando and stuff and like the old switcheroo, but like I forgot that he just does shoot a baby chimpanzee 4 times.
He does. So
Yeah.
I want to ask you
It's
about the
front
switcheroo in
Yeah.
2 seconds. I do just
I
want
was
to
wondering about
reiterate
that too. Yeah.
once again, these are people, actors, in makeup, very weird costumes, 2 people,
Mhm.
and then in their
Baby
arms,
chimp.
wrapped up in a little blanket, will be the
Yeah.
tiniest, chillest little ape you've ever seen, whose eyes are just like deadpan forward. It's the cutest thing you've ever
Yeah.
seen. And the idea that a human being could look at that and pull the trigger 4 times into the back of it. This is where I cried. And it
Right.
carried through to the ending. But my question to you guys is, Mike, you just said it. Why
Yeah.
does Zira do the switcheroo? What in her mind is
That's
engaging
what I'm
that
wondering,
she feels danger, that she
Because
doesn't
she must
think they're
know
going to
that
make
they're
it?
going to get caught and killed, so she wants to protect her baby, but then takes the other, ape's baby.
Why does she throw it in the water?
I think that is
don't know.
so they can't do an autopsy. Like to find out that it's not a smart ape, it's just a regular ape. It's
She
like,
hopes it just goes down into the water.
yeah, I
Okay.
think that's her thought. Like I
Jesus
need to
Christ.
hide
But
that,
she,
which is
you know-
another crazy thing to witness, like a mother
Oh,
presumably
dragging
throwing
her body,
Yeah.
crawling, throwing her dead
Baby
baby's
overboard.
corpse into the water. It is
Basically,
horrifying.
It is
Of
horrifying.
course, she knows that it's the other baby because they're at the circus. She has her baby. The humans are like, okay, let's check all the zoos and circuses in the Los Angeles area. So they're like, okay, we got to get out of here.
Before we go, just a real quick, let me put a beautiful necklace on that little baby as it's born. You're
Saint Francis
such a
of
cutie.
Assisi.
I said,
Yeah.
you remind me of a Saint of Francis.
Okay, Armando.
What?
And
I
she's like-
am losing it at this moment.
Yeah.
want
She's
the
like,
Armando spin-off.
Oh.
before we go, let me just say goodbye to little baby Heloise, which is the other ape baby that she met.
Eloise.
That's
Um,
right. Oh, and I'm more sad.
And yeah, and so she's unbeknownst to us at this point, she switches the babies. So she takes the primitive ape baby and leaves her smart ape baby at the circus, which must mean that she knew that they were basically going to get caught and or killed and wanted to
Yeah.
protect her baby.
I
Because
guess
the 2 vets real quick have been saying, we're going to get you to a sanctuary that will have its own colony. You will be free. And they just assume that they will live as normal apes in the wild. I guess in that moment, she's thinking like, no, we won't.
Yeah.
if you
But
look
was
at
her
the
plan
deck,
maybe to
it's so
come back
stacked.
later if they did escape, that she could come back and get her baby later or something?
Presumably Armando would be chill with that. Like, oh, your
Yeah.
baby, yeah, because
You swapped you're telling me the one that talks, that's your smarter baby?
This one keeps saying, Mama.
He's the
Yo.
one who did my taxes? He's the smart one? No.
I'm intrigued to see the next one because I'm wondering, like, did they have that conversation? Like, Armando do the thing, or is it like surprise?
This
Right.
is
Right.
the hardest. I've made fun of Jacob a million times for you saying, "Oh, we end these things, and I want to go right into the next one." This one
Yeah.
ended, and I was like, I gotta know what
Gotta know
happens
what
to
happens.
Milo and Armando. And I've seen them. I know what happens.
But I want to go on the ride. Yeah, but again, this is like, I've always felt like the campiest one, but it's also like one of the darkest ones because of the ending and like just what will you do out of fear and hatred, I guess. Like that's
It has so
driving
much
this guy.
heart too. There's so many emotions just across the spectrum on this movie. It's
when she
wild.
crawls to Cornelius when he gets shot and falls over the railing, and she crawls to basically just like embrace him one more time. It's like, dude,
Cornelius definitely had a conversation with Taylor where he was like, "Show me how these things work real quick before you go." Taylor was like, "You got it, my man."
Well,
Well, the apes are
how does
pacifists.
this?
The chimpanzees are usually pacifists. But basically what happens is, so this guy, Dr. whatever his name is, Hasselbaum.
Hassling or whatever. He's hassling the apes. I remember.
He's hassling them. So he confronts Zira on this boat. He's like, "Give me that baby." She's like, "No way," runs away. He's like chasing her around the boat. The police are showing up outside. Helicopters are showing up. They're all showing up, right? The army and everybody. So their boat's kind of surrounded, but he's just on the boat. He's like, "I got to kill these apes." And he's even hiding from the police. So kind of what he's doing is like unsanctioned. He's just like, "I'm putting these apes down."
100%.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Put that gun down, you psycho. We love those apes.
He's vigilante mode.
Yeah.
Side.
So he confronts Zira. He's like, "I'm going to shoot that baby."
She runs, one in the shoulder and behind. She stumbles,
drops the baby. He shoots the baby while it's on the ground. It's covered in a blanket, so you can't really see it. But it's kind of fucked up.
Off the blanket. Yeah, she does drop the baby, and his immediate target acquisition is baby first. It's fucking crazy.
Then Cornelius shows up, shoots him, kills the scientist. He falls into the water, but also the scientist shoots Cornelius too, right? Or someone shoots Cornelius. He falls down.
The cops or somebody.
Yeah. So basically, they killed
stories.
Zira and Cornelius and the baby and the scientist. They all die.
Yeah.
There's just a big shootout, and it's very bleak ending.
Good scientists are like, they're heartbroken. How could this happen?
Yeah.
What a tragedy.
Yeah.
But it feels
in history,
like terrible.
Newspapers just kind of become like, remember when those talking monkeys were famous for like a week? Like, we're not going to like investigate any of this.
They die.
Yeah. The most advanced life forms we've ever known, and murdered by a
children's
scientist.
movie.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But that's what's so interesting about this guy, because everything he does is like based on his own logic that like this is the right thing to be doing.
Yes.
So he never seems like angry. He's just like very logically like, I need to kill these apes, but he just becomes obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
His own beliefs and prejudice just make him to make a series of very horrible decisions. But he is like,
right.
When you think of other villains, like Zaius is probably maybe the MVP as far as like the series so far. But like, there's a lot of cartoonish villains, and this guy does feel like complex, way wrong, but like, yeah, he's not angry. He's just like,
like
cold.
Everything he's doing, he believes it's the right thing to do, and he has like scientific reasoning for why he's doing it, even if we don't agree with him, but that's what he thinks he needs to do.
Which,
so he's just,
you know what,
kind of coldly going about it and doing what he thinks he needs to do.
Right, and so maybe as an inverse of the original movie, where it's like religion is suppressing science and that's dangerous, this guy is full on science without any heart or passion,
Yeah.
Kind of in that way. It's like taking a run at the opposite side of that coin, maybe.
Right. Yeah, but it's crazy because like, these talking apes land in a spaceship, and like a week later we've killed them.
They're so fun.
Yeah.
And you're watching the news and you're like, the Elvis Presley, the talking ape, was shot today. You're like,
Dang. It's doing a lot, but then we do get the reveal of the switcheroo at the very end. Armando, an intelligent creature. Your parents were very intelligent. And we see the necklace.
Mama.
And then
what do you guys think of the reversing the footage to make it look like he's talking?
Oh,
Mama.
Maybe let's keep the camera on sticks if we're gonna do this.
Or it's just like he doesn't. His lips don't have to move. It's just like it could cut away. We understand it just from the sound.
Yeah.
Right. And now, was this a reference because in the first movie they have that baby doll, right, that says "Mama"? So I was wondering, like, oh, that's another reference, which of course they bring back in
She's
the newer
obsessed.
movies.
She says it first. When she sees that gorilla has the baby, she starts
Right.
saying "mama, mama."
She's like, I'm just practicing. I know this ape can't talk, but you know.
Right.
Yeah,
Then you're
that's
gonna
so
kidnap
sad.
it.
I love this movie.
Yeah, it's got a lot going on. Like we said, like this ending is really sad, and then the second act is like a lot of fun, and the first act is like, courtroom drama. It's like there's a lot to it. Like this one, maybe because it's the least amount of apes, I don't know how the fandom feels about it, but like I rank this pretty high when we get to the end of this 5-movie series. This is pretty up there for me. Might
It
be my
feels so
second favorite.
focused. Like it's lasered in onto like what the premise of this should be. Again, it helps that maybe they're putting some foresight into a lot of the thoughts of the universe now. But this is a great setup to that.
Yeah,
I think
and again, it's sort of, yeah.
No, it's my favorite characters, like you said, Jacob. Zira and Cornelius, sorry.
Yeah.
They're really fun to be around. They always have been. And they're the focus of this. And that really helps it too.
Yeah.
And it's the first movie backwards, essentially, where it's flipped. And I was thinking they even have that scene when the vets are helping them escape. They give them the gun. And then there's that great moment where they're like, you're the second human I've ever kissed. And Zira kisses the dude, and then Cornelius is like, and you're the first human I've ever kissed, and then he kisses the lady,
which to me is like the second they got on that spacecraft that we don't see in between the second and third movie, Cornelius was like, I can't believe you fucking kissed Taylor. That's so like he was clearly like they clearly thought about it. Yeah, like he was like, but I said that thing about how ugly he was. Don't you understand, husband? It was a joke. It was like a little. No, if we ever meet a girl human again, guess what? I'm kissing Nova next time we see her. Yeah. And you can tell that this time he's like, hey, look at this woman. I'm kissing her.
Yep. Wife of the direct Arthur P. Jacobs. Yeah.
They were like, going to some key parties. They're like, let's swap wives real quick.
I would assume those dress up montages that they were like, we'll have you over later. Huh?
I'm Dr. Dixon for nothing,
Where's Milo? Where's little Milo?
Oh, little Milo. So they named their son Milo, and I thought they were going to name him Caesar, because from what I sort of know about the future is that maybe their son will be Caesar, played by Roddy McDowall again.
What an interesting thing to know, and let's see what comes of that.
And we have now a couple threads. Yeah, who is Caesar? Who is Aldo? Right, like that's all stuff that's kind of been set up to go. Like, who's the first ape to say no? Okay, that's
where does Koba come in? My favorite,
Rocket.
Rocket, Bad Ape, all our favorite apes.
We're from the future too, Normies. If you're watching along with us, we're from the future, and we know that there's a rebooted series that have already come out. But we'll get there in sequence. Don't worry about it. Just don't kill us or that knowledge.
I'm the most excited to get to, obviously, to finish out this franchise or this septology or whatever you called it, or pentology. Yeah. I'm excited to see how that ends, and then I'm excited to see the Tim Burton one. Because I think that's going to be really fun to talk about, and then to get to the new ones, obviously, will be fun too.
Do we? We're going to jump to the quiz here, and then we'll give our final thoughts. But do we want to set up for a month from now when we do the next one? Do you guys know there's a pretty famous difference between the director's cut and the normal cut? And I believe the normal cut is the only thing streaming. Do we want to say which one we'll do, or will we watch both?
That's a good question.
I didn't know there was a director's cut.
Completely different endings.
Really? Oh, wait. I think I do know this. I don't... That's a good question, Colin. Maybe we'll sit on it and we'll let you know during final thoughts. That's a good distinction.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have... it's turned out that, we quizzed it up, you maniacs. Quizzed it all to hell. Right. So we're going to go over to
this wasn't Mike's quiz. This was the Gorilla's quiz.
Gorilla's quiz. Yeah. So we'll catch you over there right after this.
Zira, she couldn't swim.
Primates don't like being wet.
Baby Milo, we switched them at birth.
Nobody knew.
They should have Christopher Walken play an ape.
I would.
Man.
If he, you know what? We're back. We're back here on
We're
Normies Like
back.
Us. We're about to do the quiz. Jacob just had the best idea ever. In the future new movies, I want to see Christopher Walken play a wise old orangutan because, of course, he did that in the Jungle Book movie. So
He's the emperor.
That's
of
true.
He
Good
could
at
be
that.
the emperor of orangutans.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah,
I'm an orangutan.
The bananas
Now I'm
must
dancing.
flow. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
oh, Atreides.
Oh man,
I could see
Ape
it. I could see
Trades,
it.
Paul Ape Trades.
Ape
That's the
Trades. Paul
crossover.
Ape Trades. It's so good.
Yeah, we did mention. I wish the apes had a faction in the Mad Max universe. There was just a corner of the world where it's just ape society in the
Right.
wastelands. You know, that'd be
Both
sick.
those futures are happening at the same time, but Australia is like Mad Max country, and then
And New York is
everywhere else
ape
is-
country.
Those kids,
Yeah.
I think Captain Walker was probably an orangutan that they saw one time.
Fair.
He's just like,
I like
living
that.
in that oasis.
Yeah, he was just chilling. He was like our boy Rocco from the future movies. But
Mm-mm.
we're here. Those are questions to be answered for another time. But I have questions to be answered right now. With again, you quiz it up, you maniacs. Quiz it all to hell. This wasn't my quiz. It was the Gorilla's quiz. So, as you know, the format is true and false. 1 and a 2 fingers to designate when they're locked in. We'll reveal, and I guess we'll just get started. Number 1, the original working title for this film was Return to the Planet of the Apes, but that was scrapped and then reworked to be used for the animated series. True or false?
I was going to say, have we had one called that? Okay, huh.
Wait,
Return
2
to the
is
Planet of the Apes.
false or 1 is false?
One
What
is
the hell was
true,
the
2
last
is
one
false.
called? Was it called Blow Up the Planet of the Apes? What was the second
Beneath
one
the
called?
Planet of the
Oh,
Beneath.
that's right.
That's right. So was
All
it
right, I'm
Return
ready.
of the Planet of the Apes? True or false? Locked in?
I'm locked in.
All right, reveal.
True.
I say false.
A true and a false. Okay, I tricked you, Colin. Jacob gets the point there.
Yeah.
Return of the Planet of the Apes is the name of the animated series, but the working title, they did have one, and it was Secret of the Planet of the Apes. But then
Oh,
I was just
Secret would
thinking-
be-
I don't like that as much. Yeah.
There's
Secret
no
would be
way it
better
could
for
have
the
been-
mutants.
yeah.
Honestly,
That's the secret.
Secret. But
I knew it couldn't have been Return of the Planet of the Apes because the planet exploded at the end of the last movie. So there's no way they could return to the
the
planet.
planet
isn't-
returns
but-
in negative time.
But this is the Planet of the Apes.
I
They
guess.
are
This is Planet of the
returning to
Humans.
Earth.
It's the same.
Return of the Planet of the Humans.
Well,
Is the
pla-
secret in their mind, is it that they're from the future?
They're keeping the secret of the explosion of Earth, I would think.
Yes.
Right?
And
Yeah,
that she dissected
okay.
humans. Yeah.
I guess so.
I
Dissect.
really love to do prefrontal lobotomies on humans. Don't tell anybody.
yes.
When they're alive, yes.
It's
yes.
my favorite.
Uh,
And Taylor. Oh, Taylor.
Oh, Taylor, bright eyes.
Bright Eyes, we called him.
we gave him a gun, 50 bullets, and a horse.
We'd clown on his
He
ass. We gave him
destroyed the
that
world. You know what?
He was
Dr.
gonna start a
Days
new
was right.
colony.
Shit
with
right
Noble.
up.
They should have killed Taylor because he did blow up the world. It's
Yeah.
it's his
He-
fault.
That's what I'm saying. It was a
He
human
basically raped the first woman we met.
Oh
And
my
the mutants
god!
were the mutants were humans too, basically. So it was really the humans' fault
Yeah.
that the world exploded. So
Damn.
Yeah.
So there you
what are
go.
gonna do?
Well, number 2, our other least favorite human, Dr. Halsey. He is actually responsible for the events that unfold throughout all of the Planet of the Apes movies, including the first one. True or false?
What does that mean?
Is he in charge of the rocket program? Does he say that in this fucking movie?
No. I
Hmm.
don't know.
I don't know. Could he have
They
had?
talk. He brings up Taylor, I think.
He was
I
like,
don't know.
I love Taylor. He's my best friend.
Taylor. I
He
chose
loves
that guy.
genociding.
I'm
Yeah.
a maniac.
That's why he got in,
Um,
because that's the only way you get past the checks and balances. He had an inside.
I'm-
job.
I'm-
yeah,
I'm
true or
locked
false?
in.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Reveal.
I'm gonna
True.
say true.
2 trues, 2 points.
Wow.
In the
I don't know
first
what it
movie,
means, but-
There's a line, I guess I could have explained it better, but they explained that we use a Halcyon time curve to time travel. Like they explained that that's the
Oh.
function of how they were traveling as a Halcyon
and he
time
did
curve.
explain that whole time travel thing with the infinite regression and everything. That was very confusing. But
Right.
so obviously he knew about time travel beforehand.
So
So
he-
maybe that's why he was so upset this whole movie, that they did the thing he cooked up, I guess. I don't know.
So he has to have been the one who sent Taylor. Taylor's gone now, right? So he knows the mission is
Right.
happening. They come back in Taylor's ship, and he's like, that was my math. What are you doing here? And oh my God,
Yeah.
the future seems horrible. Maybe that's his motivation.
Right.
Yeah.
We gotta stop these apes from learning how to talk.
Right.
Taylor and the crew, they were just ready to die in the first one, right? The experiment was never to come back in time, right?
No, they
Yeah,
were
we
gonna
have
set up
one
like a
woman
new
to repopulate.
society.
Yeah.
Right.
She died in space before they crashed.
Okay.
Because
And
her
so-
life support thing.
If anything, this guy should be the most excited human being on the planet that he discovered a new theory, which is he seemed to already have cooked up how to time travel forward. Baby, these apes just taught you how to do it backwards. That seems exciting.
Yeah.
You should
But
love
was it
them.
only
Let them have
because
a
of
baby.
the
Teach me this.
wasn't it only because of the shockwave of the planet exploding that like sent them back in time or something?
That's
that they explained?
quantifiable, though. It's even you just knowing that you're like, I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
saying he can recreate it, but the fact that he's like, okay, we learned something. This is
I guess-
interesting. He should be
Right.
excited.
Yeah, but then their rocket scientist did get killed by a gorilla. So the one who
Yeah.
who could explain it is dead.
Oh, Dr.
Unfortunately.
Milo.
Yeah, if Dr. Milo had a conversation with Dr. Hurtnum or whatever his name
Yeah,
was.
Dr.
then,
Hurtnum.
Yeah.
It would have gone a lot
Yeah.
different. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Two intellectuals. All right, well, I got another one here. Kim Hunter, Dr. Zira, was really excited to return for the third installment of the Planet of the Apes, as she was the person who played in all three of these films so far, as Roddy McDowell missed the second one. She was looking forward to this
Right.
one. True or false?
Okay,
All right,
I'm ready.
I'm like
Doc?
them.
reveal.
I'll say true.
I guess say
true-
false because you sound so sinister, Mike.
She was
I
really
guess it's
looking
my
forward to
delivery.
it.
Yeah, I should work on it. She was not really stoked because of the makeup
There
takes
we go.
forever and stuff. And so once
Sure.
she found out that it's more grounded in a city, and the script, she liked the script a lot, but because it wasn't going to be in a desert and horrible. to
Well, and
film.
you already know how bad they treat you when it's an army of you dressed up like these things. I wonder
Yeah.
in her mind if she thought that it would be better just being the three of them or worse.
Probably.
Yeah, it's like easier that way. And again, you can be in air conditioning and stuff. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're still doing the thing where they're like, you can't eat or take it off, so here's your smoothie for lunch, and you're like, I fucking
only eat
hate
oranges.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's your
Yeah.
oranges. We're racist.
Get to stay in character.
oh man. Well, here's a
Yeah,
true and false,
monkey.
and to follow up on that.
It's a very
I
offensive
loathe
term for us.
bananas was because she actually didn't like bananas because of how actors are treated in the ape makeup from the first movie. That people be making jokes and giving them bananas, and she's like, you
Oh
know what?
my
I don't
God.
like bananas.
Oh,
So is
You
that
know
true?
what?
Were they
All right, I'm
mistreated
ready.
and bullied?
I'm
or
locked
not?
in.
Okay,
I'm
reveal.
ready. True.
I'll say true, yeah.
2
That's
points
gotta
for
be
It's
true.
both
gotta
of you.
be.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
loathes bananas.
So yeah, they would be bullying the ape actors with bananas from the first movie on.
That's kind of
you
funny,
know?
though.
Not
Oh,
if
you wanted
you're
a
an ape
banana, you
actor.
stupid ape?
And they've been horrible movies to make.
I'm above the
Jesus.
line. What do you mean? Yeah, like
Yeah, why are you doing? I'm the star of this movie.
yeah.
Charlton hit me in the face the other day. He slapped me across the face.
Damn dirty ape.
Mhm.
He doesn't seem to know that we're actors. He's very messy.
He just
How did
curses
you
at
train
me
them?
every time he sees me.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I need 50 things of ammunition. in my
50
gun.
rounds.
And of course. Well, here's a
Oh,
fun
child
Taylor-related trivia. As we mentioned in the IDW comic Primate Directive, right?
Yes.
You see the crew of the Enterprise, original, going to the Planet of the Apes, fighting some Klingon shenanigans. In that series, does Taylor have a fist fight with Captain Kirk? True or false? He fist fights Captain Kirk in that comic. True or false?
That would be. I really
would
want
assume
that
you'd
to be
have to.
true. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'm locked in. I'll
All
say
right, let's reveal it.
true.
I'm gonna say
Yes,
true, just because I really want it to be true.
I'm proud of you
course.
guys. It is true. I haven't read the whole thing, but I was like very happy to learn that
Yeah.
they meet Taylor and he's like, guys, we got to kill these apes. And they're like, chill out, dude. He's like, we really got to kill these apes. And he ends up fighting Kirk and he takes Chekhov hostage and tries to steal a shuttlecraft. It's a whole thing. He's being really
Here-
big Taylor energy.
Here, if I was a comic book writer, or if I could figure out how to do these things, here's what I would do. Because here's the last leg that I need to have all my universes collide there, Mike. If
Mhm.
that's happening, fist fight, it's Captain Kirk, it's fucking William Shatner, it's fucking Charlton Heston, it's fucking Taylor from the Monkey franchises.
Oh.
If in swings Adam West as Batman, who then starts fighting all of them, I'm done. I'm sold.
Yeah.
This is it for me.
Uh-huh.
Well, I only wish that they actually filmed that. I know this
Yeah.
this comic is from like 2014, but definitely I
Just-
want to read this comic now because obviously we covered Star Trek, we're covering Planet of the Apes now. Like this
It's
is
like the
perfect,
perfect
for us.
thing.
Oh, the
Yeah.
planet will explode at some point, Jacob, and we'll all go back in time and we'll be able to shoot it. So
Yeah.
I'm not worried
Yeah.
about it.
I just like the canon that Taylor is a madman at all
Yes.
times. Like, so anyway,
Well, it
that
makes
was
sense
funny.
because the Star Trek crew, they're from the future, so they're more enlightened humans and stuff. So they're like, let's figure things out. And Taylor's just
Captain,
like, no, we gotta kill
I
these
picked
apes.
up on the scanners. The planet beneath us seems to have an Alpha Omega Doomsday device.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's go down and see what they're up to.
My God, you're
You think
all
that-
apes.
And you think they would have been able to stop the mutants from blowing up the planet and everything?
Well, what I like to think then is like Kirk says, no, I'm not going to genocide the apes with you. And then he goes to the desert and is all pouty, finds the mutants. And when he has his chance, he's like, no, it's happening now, baby.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? Turn the ship around. Let them blow themselves up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? So anyway,
Captain,
that's
we
fun.
must take
It's
them
just
into
funny
the
'cause I was saying-
Federation.
You know,
Oh, they,
in our
they,
first
they were pre-warp.
yeah.
Oh, okay, of course.
But in our first episode, when we talked about Planet of the Apes, I was saying how it felt like an episode of Star Trek where you go to this weird civilization and you got to figure out how, to solve whatever problem they have.
True. Well, here,
And of course, number 2 looks like the Beep Beep Boys, the aliens with the Beep Beep box.
Mm-hmm.
That's
yeah,
right.
very similar. Well, then I do have a
Beep
Star
Beep
Trek
Boys.
related quiz question. It's a number guess, so whoever's closest, all right? So
Okay.
obviously we know Ricardo Montalban has already appeared in Space Seed by this time, a decade before Wrath of Khan. But how many other people, including Montalban, so including him, how many people in this cast were on an episode of Star Trek, the original series? If you had to guess.
In this movie in particular, or
movie.
the 3 films? Okay,
In
this
this
one
movie in
particular.
including
Yo, was
him.
Kim
Montalban.
Hunter? Yeah, okay, I want to see all these people in a Star Trek. And I know that here's an interesting fact. I know that the director of this movie was an actor. Like he was in a bunch of like old westerns and film noirs and stuff. So I almost wonder if maybe he also was in a Star Trek episode.
I'm sticking to cast. I didn't consider the director even though he wasn't actor,
Sure.
but he is not one. But
Okay.
yes, how many total
Okay.
would you estimate, including
I'm
Montalban?
going to say 4 is my
4?
guess.
All right, Jacob.
I'll say 3.
Jacob hit it on the head. It's 3 with Montalban.
Wow.
So
Right.
point for Jacob.
So who are the 2 others?
So it is Willem Wyndham, who played Matt Deckard in The Doomsday Machine, and Jason Evers, who played Rail in Wink of an Eye. And
Wait,
seeing
who
that
do they
again,
play in this movie?
William Wyndham was the president, and
Ah,
Evers was one of the guys
One of those
interrogating them.
commission
in
people.
CIA.
Whoa, that's cool.
So anyway, that was a
I
little
have-
fun fact.
I have a fun fact that probably isn't in your quiz too. Speaking
Please.
of the cast, well, it's not really a fun fact, more like a not as fun fact. But
Oh,
I was looking because I always like to see with older movies like what the actors and stuff like if they're still alive and that kind of thing. So I was
Mhm.
looking on like Wikipedia, like for the main cast, basically everyone in the main cast is sadly passed now, except for the one guy that's still alive is the bad scientist guy,
Oh, really?
Ah.
Dr. Hasselbein.
Well, again, 1971.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's pretty
old.
old, and like some of
Yeah.
them only like 2018 or something like that. But obviously Roddy McDowell, Kim Hunter,
mhm.
they've all it's been a long time since this movie. But Eric Braeden
Yes.
is still alive. He's 83 years old. So there you
Wow.
go.
I was
Also,
gonna
his true name is. He
ahead.
was born in Germany, and his birth name was Hans Jorg Gudegast. So there you go.
That's not a great stage name. I see why he changed it.
No, he changed his name to Eric Braeden. He was in a bunch of other movies and stuff.
Changed his
so-
name to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right. He
And this guy, he has good luck, so I kind of was like, I bet he was in other stuff, and like he seems like a good actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does have a good look. Like a
He
soap
mentioned-
guy.
Yeah, he did
Yeah.
he did do Young and the Restless, I think, for a long
Oh,
time.
did he?
I think. If you could
He's in
check
The
that
Man
for
from
a second.
Uncle. Mission Impossible,
Oh.
the original TV series,
God.
Right.
Hawaii Five-0. So he's in a bunch of like old '60s TV shows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
$6 Million Man.
I really used to have an encyclopedia on a person who I could ask who these actors were, but I unfortunately don't anymore. So I feel
Right.
lost at sea on all that.
Fair. Well,
He was in How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, whoa.
That's
he
wild.
He played Robin Scherbatsky's dad, which is Kobe Smolder's character.
Yeah.
In How I Met Your Mother. So there you go.
There we go. 9 actors from this movie were on Mission Impossible as villains, including Roddy McDowell, Kim Hunter, Bradford
Wow.
Dillman, Eric Braeden, William
Now,
Wyndham. Yeah.
Mike,
Sal
how have I
Mineo.
not seen the Roddy McDowell Mission Impossible episode? I will be fighting that.
And is it a Leonard Nimoy season? Because he's in that show too.
If it is, that'd be
Right.
if it's please tell me Ricardo does one too. Did you say Ricardo does one too? That would be amazing.
I'm not seeing Ricardo here, but we do have Sal Mineo.
And Leonard
start
Nimoy was
watching
like a
Fantasy
reoccurring
Island?
character,
Wow.
I think, on Mission Impossible for a while.
Is that what we watched?
Yeah.
Who? Shatner?
No, Leonard Nimoy. He
But
was
he
the
was like
second
a
lead.
reoccurring guy.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't just in one episode.
So
No,
do
he
we
was like
get
the
a
second
2 for
lead
1?
character.
Yeah. I'd be
Yeah.
curious if it's Kim Hunter and Leonard Nimoy in the same episode kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that was
That's
just a fun
awesome.
fact. Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting the pipeline of people who worked like that was a Paramount production too. So it's
Oh yeah,
Right.
probably a lot more Star Trek.
you're there on the
crossover.
set. Yeah, hey.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, let's continue the quiz.
Any of these people in The Godfather, we can really rope together all of our Paramount interests. And
Yeah.
Oh, Kim
true, I wonder.
Hunter.
Oh,
Kim
you got
Hunter
one?
was the original. She was in The Streetcar Named Desire, playing Stella Kowalski. Opposite
with
Marlon
Marlon Brando. Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's
Wow,
incredible.
We're getting
didn't know
there's
that.
your Godfather line. Perfect.
There's your Godfather. That's wild.
And obviously we get all the James Dean connections thanks to Dr. Milo. Which, speaking of Dr. Milo, Sal Mineo, who played Dr. Milo,
Right.
he was recommended to be in the movie by Roddy McDowell and actually really enjoyed it and was kind of bummed that his character died so early in the script because he was.
I was
enjoying
kind of
hanging out
bummed
with them.
too, because I was like, I want to see more of Dr. Milo, so I was with him there.
So true or false?
I'll say, all right, I'm ready.
Locked in? All
Yeah.
right,
Yeah, I'm
reveal.
locked in.
I'm gonna say
I'm
true.
gonna say true because I think Sal and Rowdy were probably both child actors together. It makes sense that they know each other.
So,
Oh, sure.
it was recommended by Rowdy, but he did not enjoy it. The makeup. He actually got really claustrophobic, and Kim Hunter
Yeah.
said they had to give Sal a lot of hugs. Like they had to really support him. He had a rough time. And it
People
was
really didn't like wearing the makeup, man.
It probably
that's
took
why
forever
Rowdy's
to
MVP.
put on and everything.
Yeah.
4.5 hours at one point. I think was the number I heard per day. So
But again, that was Sal Mineo's last film role.
right,
He would die 5 years later at the age of 37.
tragically, yeah.
Yeah.
But I would have liked to see his character more. But yeah.
Yeah. 2-time Oscar nominee, Sal Mineo, for Streetcar Named Desire and Exodus. there you
I
go.
haven't seen Exodus. Okay.
I haven't either.
All right. Well, I have a couple more here. Right now it is 5 for Jacob, 4 for Colin.
God
So
damn it.
Wow.
we're close. This one's fun. True or false? The opening scene on the beach is filmed at the same beach where the Statue of Liberty was in the original movie. True or false?
That's a good question.
Let me know.
All right.
I was just impressed by the helicopter, honestly. I'm locked in.
Is this Airwolf? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I was like,
reveal.
I'm
Shit.
locked in.
Reveal.
I'm going to say
True.
false. And I think that it's a trick because it was I'm going to guess that it was filmed at the same beach where Taylor landed in the first one. But maybe I'm wrong.
That was a lake.
That's
it
my
was
reasoning
the
for
same.
calling it false, though.
Well, fair.
Oh, okay.
Colin gets the point. It's now a tied game. It's the same beach, California.
I was
It's
trying to
late
guess,
for
though.
New York.
Anticipate a trick, you know?
I am being
I
tricksy
know you can be
sometimes.
tricksy. You can be a tricksy
Play
little
mind
mob.
games out here.
I'm trying to be a little less tricksy on the technicals, but I am trying to be tricky
Right.
every once in a while. Here's I guess if this is the tiebreaker, this could be for all the marbles. But if you guys both get it wrong, or it's the same, we'll keep going. But this could be for all the marbles, let's say.
Okay.
Yeah. So this, out of the 5 Planet of the Apes films, this is the only of them to not make it to number 1 at the box office during its theatrical run. True
Ah,
or false?
1971. What the fuck would this have been opening against?
No, not as many
Okay.
apes in it. Who knows?
And the rest
Yeah.
of them all were number one at the
Third
box office
entry
account.
after a really surprising second film. Okay.
Mhm.
But did the second one even do that well? I don't know.
It did very well, shockingly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna guess. I'm locked in.
I'm locked on.
Locked in. All right. 3, 2, 1. Reveal.
I'm gonna say false.
say
They
false.
make 2 more of these. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys were both correct. That is
Thank
false.
you, God.
Every one
Okay.
of these was number one. It's opening.
Every
box office
one,
weekend.
really.
I keep picturing little Bobby Draper getting a little bit older. Would he still like these movies?
Dad, can we go
Jacob?
see
Is
the
he
new one?
still? Dad, you're drunk again. I hear Zira's the lead in this one. We gotta go.
Well, what's
Right.
crazy to me is that how quickly they made all these. Because normally nowadays sequels, they're like every 2 or 3 years. This one was like they were pumping out one a year. So like all
Mhm.
5 of these happened in like a 5-year time span, which is insane to me now. Like you would never see that with like, oh yeah, we're gonna make 5 Batman movies in 5 years. Like that would
Like, how
never
long-
happen.
Yeah, you had to wait several years between New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Next year. But
This one was like, we got to capitalize. People want these ape movies. We got to pump these out.
what an era, the 70s.
Yeah.
And like this movie is the most 70s of them, literally. It's
Right.
an interesting time capsule, kind of as a cultural artifact too. Well, we are tied up, and I guess I have
Wow.
another couple questions we can see. This one could be
Colin
for all
wants
marbles.
to kiss that baby Milo. True or false? True.
Right, true.
I would say true.
All right,
You're right.
You're correct, you win. Eric Braeden, who played Dr. Hazeline, owes kind of his casting in this role to ping pong. True or false?
Hmm.
I
I'm
don't
going to say because that sounds so specific. Okay, I'm ready.
know. Just lock. Let me know.
I'm
All
locked.
right, reveal.
I
I'm
gotta
going to say
agree.
true.
True.
Yeah, it's too specific. It's true.
It's
You guys
ping
both
pong.
get a point.
I got to know what that means, though.
Yeah.
So he apparently in an interview is like, I hate schmoozing in Hollywood. I would never go to these director parties just to get a job. I think that's
No.
corny, But he's really competitive. And when Arthur P. Jacobs is like, yo, dude, we're doing a ping pong tournament. You want to come through? He's like, yes, I will play ping pong. Like that was
Just
the
like
motivation
me.
to start schmoozing. You're the ping pong god.
I'm
yeah.
very competitive
true.
normies when I play ping pong, and I take it very seriously, and I beat all these
Do
guys.
we? We're all very proud. of it. Did we say in that first one? Maybe important to reiterate. Arthur P. Jacobs was Marilyn Monroe's agent who bought a script and optioned it for her to star in, and was like, you know what? I should be a producer. And then she died before that movie was made. And then he went, you know what? I am still good at this, and bought the Planet of the Apes rights for the book, and still has them. I mean, he's still, that's incredible.
I did not know
I didn't
about
know
the Marilyn Monroe connection. She lived in like the same building as Salmini at one point. Not at the same
Oh,
time,
sure,
but like
sure.
they had lived in.
That would make sense. That
Yeah.
contemporaries. That
really
makes
tragic.
absolute
All
sense.
those 60s and 50s film actors, all had such tragic endings and stuff.
All
but-
gay, all of them,
All on
having
drugs,
sex with each other,
yeah.
all on so many drugs, all of them living so many secrets. You just want to be like, just relax.
the social pressures of just being a celebrity in that era was just like
Yeah.
too much
Yeah.
for them.
Too
but-
much.
Speaking of Arthur P. Jacobs,
Mm-hmm.
I have a fun fact too, which I don't think is on your quiz, but
No.
the actress that plays Dr. Stephanie Branton, Natalie Trundy,
Dr. Stephanie
Uh,
Franklin. Who is that?
the-
What are you saying?
the woman scientist in
Yes,
this
of
movie.
Yeah.
course.
Natalie Trundy was actually in Beneath the Planet of the Apes and would go on to be in Conquest of the Planet of the Apes and Battle of the Planet of the Apes in different roles. And because she was married to Arthur P. Jacobs,
Correct.
so he just kept casting his wife in different
I
roles.
actually thought she was kind of bad in this movie too. She's very quiet as this character. And Jacob, I would assume, is she
Yeah.
the one female mutant?
That's right. Yeah, she's Albina, the female mutant. And
She's
then in-
much better as that character.
in the next two,
such
she
a
plays a
memorable
character named
character.
Lisa. So we'll find out.
Well,
what
the
her-
ape,
her
Lisa
deal.
the ape.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
But
that is-
yeah, that is
besides Roddy
interesting.
McDowell, she's in more of these than anybody, I think.
That's wild.
And then,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
Come
Arthur
on
P.
through,
Jacobs
watch out.
died in 1973. So
he's not
while they
still
were still
alive.
making these,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
No,
good to know.
yeah.
Well, I have exhausted all my questions, fellas, and it's a tie. It's a dead
Wow.
heat.
Well, we're
7
just
to
both so
7.
good at
Can I
this.
tell you guys a secret? That quiz was a tie, but I actually swapped the quizzes before we took that quiz. So our quiz is actually safe at the zoo right now.
Wow.
This wasn't
What
my
a
quiz
twist.
at all.
Mama, Mike's quiz, Mama.
Quizzy Milos. Yeah, I don't have any alts. We burned through them.
Smart little quiz.
I do have one other
I need to think
fun
of
fact
tiebreakers.
about the cast of this movie too.
Yes,
Mhm.
please. But
that-
congratulations. We'll keep track for the whole season of Apes movies and
There
we'll
we go.
figure out. Yeah.
Right. We're just both so good at answering questions.
With a 50% probability rate. Yeah.
But in this movie, in a small role, I believe, there's an actor named M. Emmett Walsh. And I was
Who-
surprised that he was in this because he is an
M.
actor.
Walsh?
M. Emmett Walsh. He's worked a lot with the Coen brothers, and
Of
he was
course.
in, some of the early Coen brothers films like Blood Simple, and would go on to be just a big character actor. He shows up in a lot of things.
Who did he play in this? He would have been a guy who basically
plays an
became
aide.
famous. Okay. As an
So he
old,
must-
he's
yeah,
just
he wasn't
he's an
known
old
then.
man is what he's really.
He's an old man in the
Look,
Coen brothers
yeah.
one, so he must have just
Hmm.
been he's credited as aide, so he must have just
Aide.
been one of the people in the commission or the aide to the
I
president. or
wonder if
something.
he's the guy who gives them oranges.
Maybe, but I just when I saw his name in the credits, I was like M. Emmett Walsh. I
That's
know
M.
who that
Emmett
is.
Walsh. I
Yeah.
didn't notice that. That's so fascinating, dude.
Yeah. So for all you
Yeah,
Coen
this-
brothers fans out there, yeah, there you go.
This movie has a pretty deep cast. Like, really, you could bridge a lot of
Yeah.
gaps, especially
Well, a
just
lot
getting.
of, again, the Sal Mineo, the weird Hollywood elite and connections here, and even like Jacob's saying, M. Emmett Walsh starting his career here. That is so
Yeah.
wild.
And
Wow.
to
Rebel Without
like-
a Cause. We love that movie.
Yeah. No, you have Charlton
Little,
Heston and then Sal
yeah.
Mineo in this franchise. It's like, what?
Little Sal Mineo,
Mm-hmm. Sal Biggio. No.
Sal Biggio, but he has to wear ape makeup the whole time, so you wouldn't even
You know what?
know
I'm
it.
glad Charlton
Right.
never got his hands on him. I don't need him slapping around my little Milo.
Leave
Oh,
Milo
no.
alone. Yeah. All right. Well,
Well, Mike, that was a great quiz.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I did my best, and good job answering those questions. I hope it was informative and
Yeah.
fun. You know.
That was a great quiz. I'm having a blast doing these movies, and it's just so much fun to talk about them with you guys. And I can't wait to do the other two left in this franchise, this septology, like you said. No, I keep saying septology, pentology,
Pentology.
pentagram. Yeah,
What would you name
Yes.
the other two films you keep trying to insert? Secrets of the Planet of the Apes and what else?
Yeah.
Battle of the Planet of the Apes.
That's one we have
That's
already.
one of them, right?
Battle
Conquest
four.
is next.
Conquest.
Battle's the last.
Yes.
Is that right?
So we would have Secret and then Planet of Men. That was the pitch sequel
Yeah,
that they didn't
and that's
do.
Planet of the Men.
There we go.
Honestly, I like these names are better than the new series names, which I like all the new movies, but their names can be kind of generic, where it's like Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, War of the Planet of the Apes, which is just like Battle for the Planet of the Apes, basically.
Yeah.
and
Rise.
then
Rise is the worst.
Kingdom
though.
of the Planet of the Apes. Yeah.
Right.
Kingdom.
Rise
Even
and
Kingdom's
Dawn is
bad.
weird because
Yeah.
it sounds like Dawn should come before Rise to me, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
and
I
they're
get
just
it
too
confused
generic.
that way too. Yeah. These
Yeah.
are more fun, but not as much fun as the quizzes. Maybe they are more fun. I don't know. But let's discuss it. Final thoughts right after this, right?
That's right.
I keep forgetting the ape shall never quiz ape, and I keep doing it to you guys.
We're back here on Normies Like Us. We're wrapping up our third entry in our long form series as we continued through the Planet of the Apes. We just wrapped up Escape. We do our usual segment here. Jacob, where are we going? What's going on here? We saw our little baby. What
Yeah.
what could possibly, and also will you shot in the dark? Every one of these has ended with the bleakest ending possible. What is
Yeah.
the ending of the next film in your mind? What's it going to be about, and what is the ending of the film?
Well, I don't know if this is true or if I read some stuff about the next one, but basically, I think this baby is going to grow up and become Caesar somehow, even though his name is Milo. Maybe he changes his name to Caesar.
We
and then
know
he
he's
becomes-
undercover. But is anybody
Yeah.
looking for baby Milo? I don't think anybody knows his name was Milo.
Right.
No,
But then
Milo's
maybe
washed to
he-
the sea.
Well, him
Yeah.
and his friend Otis, yeah.
Milo Notice. But he becomes Caesar, and then he becomes the historical Caesar that we all know from, eventually he becomes the lawgiver or something. But it's maybe him trying to start a new ape society. But I don't know how that works with the timeline exactly. But
He gets
maybe
adopted by James Franco. They try to cure
Yeah.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I know. You're right.
No, that all makes sense to me. But I assume the ending is like him being killed or something. Because that's how every one of these ends, with some kind of bleak and then everyone died kind of thing. So
Right, and
I
he'll
don't
be like
know.
a revolutionary figure.
yeah,
Fair.
he leads the conquest and he leads the ape army against the humans. There's some kind of big
Inspires the
war.
battle.
Yeah,
Hmm.
possibly.
Ah,
That
there we
must be
go.
what it is. Yeah.
So we're
But
kind
really,
of
I don't
getting
know.
the entire James Franco trilogy. Well, it's not a James Franco trilogy, but that reboot, the
The
first
Caesar
three.
trilogy.
That's how I
the
consider
rise
it.
to the last one is Woody
I don't
Harrelson.
really see Andy Serkis's work in any of those films. To me, it's the James Franco
James Franco.
trilogy.
Damn, yeah.
There's basically there's like one human actor in each one where it's like James Franco,
Jason
what's
Clark.
that guy's name? Jason Clark, and then Woody Harrelson.
You get Gary
right?
Oldman too, but yeah,
Right.
the main
Gary
is
Oldman,
Jason
too. Yeah, I
Clark and
guess.
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess Andy Serkis is, the Roddy McDowell of those. Like he is carrying, he is doing a lot. Like with the
Yeah.
character of Caesar, etc.
Well, that's what's so interesting with the new one that we just saw, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I was skeptical because I was like, all right, we're moving on from the Caesar, Andy Serkis era. And Koba, the guy that plays Koba, is really good as well. I can't remember his name at the moment, but
right. We'll get there.
I was like, yeah,
Dr.
those
Doom.
guys are so good. Dr. Doom, Toby Kebbell, I think is
God,
Tony Kebbell.
great work. Amazing
Nice.
pull. I
Yeah.
don't even think that guy's agent knows his name anymore. Doc.
Well, and to get these new cast in this new one, I was skeptical, but turned out really well. So that's not what we're talking about.
But
in
it's
this
fascinating
one, though. We're
that
talking about Escape of the
we
Planet of the
can't
Apes.
escape the Planet of the Apes. Like it's still going. It's such a weird franchise, as we've discussed.
I don't
on
want
all
to.
of these. Me neither. I think
No.
it's one of the most unique properties, and somehow people are just still going. And it's like,
No.
good, continue.
And they make money
Jacob
every
brought up
time
that
they come
in
out.
this. Yes,
Yeah.
and Jacob bringing up in the 70s that they get one every year. I am jealous of that. I understand why it caught on fire, that this would be such a popular franchise.
Yeah, I do want to
Mhm.
know why. So they pumped out like 5 in 5 years, and then after the 5th one, they're like, "All right, no more. That's it."
Well, then they try the TV. They realize
They do.
maybe we tap the pump. Let's reorganize ourselves here.
Mm-hmm. And they used
Yeah.
the spaceship for a third time on the TV show pilot or something.
I
They
can't even
drag
wow.
it out of storage one more
It's-
time.
You're telling me somebody else crash lands on this fucking planet? Jesus Christ!
It's called Return. I don't know. I've never seen that one. I just returned the
Don't
tape
you
to the
know
video
it's
store.
going to blow up?
They do have to
Right.
return. Yeah, maybe they return to before the events of the first movie.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's another colony and somewhere else. But to
Um,
Escape, though, I mean, yeah, like
Yeah,
I think I like it a lot. I still need to figure out if it's my second favorite Planet of the Apes original. Like we're gonna rank them when we're done with this.
Right.
But some days it
Right.
is because it does have like really great comedy one-liners. Like, what's your address? The zoo. Or like there's really funny
Yeah.
moments like that. But then there's like the heavy kind of dark stuff with it
Yeah.
too. It does a lot. It's doing a lot. And I
well,
just
like
think
you said, it's the
you know,
the voyage home of
mm,
the Apes movies. And it even has as they time travel back in time, just like in that Star Trek movie. They got to save some whales instead of saving some apes. But yeah, it's basically they got comedy moments and then darker moments. So they're very similar.
Well, not to hype this up too much, I do believe of fan input or what the assumption from the fans of the quality wise that the next one is considered the Wrath of Khan. It's like the best one.
Really?
in my head, that's the one I'm been most anticipating returning to. not to pull that again, but like I remember, I haven't watched it in several years, but I remember really, really enjoying that one. So we'll see if it holds up
Wow.
when we get there next month.
This is the funny light one that leads to the one that's like, ah.
Yeah.
So that should be the final frontier where they go meet
Sure.
God in the center of the universe.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
The worst.
This is Cybok.
Yeah.
Cyber.
for
But no,
sure.
I'm looking forward to it. I've been enjoying all these, and yeah, it's just fun to watch them for the first time.
That's
And I love
monkey
apes,
business.
and apes love me.
I'll never call them monkeys again. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, we must apologize
No,
for our
it's a very
past
offensive word
transgressions.
for us. Yeah.
Why would you say that? He has that very serious. Why would you do that? That's not nice, and you know that. She's like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
But my whole moral of the story is like, just let these apes live in peace. They're just hanging out. They
Yeah.
just want to live in our society. You don't need to go all crazy and try to kill them and kill their baby. Like, let's just all chill out and let's all just get along,
Yeah.
Could there have been a scene where Cornelius and Zira are like, damn, so this is what Taylor felt like. Like, this is crazy. Like, maybe we could have sympathized with how we treated, not like that they're not the villains, but like, whoa, hey, reflexively, we're in a position where we put several humans, and that's not cool, and this sucks. Like, acknowledge it, I guess. But,
Right.
because it is a role
I don't
swap,
know.
100%. But
But I have told
Yeah.
Nova that I'm pregnant. No, Zira, no. She doesn't understand anything.
she doesn't understand anything.
I miss Nova and Taylor though. Well, they're
Brent,
dead.
fuck
You know
him,
that.
though. We don't
I
care
guess
about
I love
Brent.
technically
Brent.
not yet because we're in the past, but it's a very complicated situation.
That's true.
But it makes sense because
hey, can I hold our baby real quick? Did you swap our babies?
Right?
You can't tell because they looked exactly
What
alike.
do you
They
mean
both
you don't
look
think
like
we're
little
gonna
baby
make
chimps.
it? It was my plan.
I should have researched if they just used the same baby chimp twice. I assume
Well, you
yes.
do see. I think you see both of them in the same
the
shot at
same
some
shot?
point. So they at least.
I
Maybe
mean,
had two
again,
baby
I
chimps.
assume the thing is just on every amount of drug on the planet. It looks like a porcelain doll, its eyes. It is not
Yeah.
moving at all.
was the
It is
70s.
just completely
Probably
frozen
It's trained
forward.
to just lie there. It's being.
Or we'll shake you. Don't move even for a second because it's the 70s and we're
Right.
animal traders, which means we're the cruelest human beings on the
Mhm.
planet.
When we're
That's the thing
laying-
is this movie
yeah.
is also like pro circus, but like circuses are notoriously like don't treat their animals that well. I think, especially in the 70s. So it's interesting that
Is it
Armando.
anti-zoo, but pro
It's
Kind of.
anti-zoo, but pro circus.
Yeah.
That's a weird
Yeah.
place to be.
It's pro
Really,
abortion.
zoos at least have some scientific, like they treat their animals well because they have like scientists and stuff that work there.
Yeah.
Comparatively, I don't think either are great institutions unless it's like a conservation effort for an endangered species. Like I think
Yeah, but
a
like if you go to the
wildlife
San
preserve
Diego
is better than a
Zoo,
zoo. But I
Yeah.
still,
but they've
I'm
got
sorry.
pandas.
Let me
and
let me
stuff.
put it this way: if
Yeah,
I
don't
was
pander
on
to
a
me.
tour at the zoo and the people there said we get all of our advice from Armando, the guy who runs the circus next door, I'd be like, "No, you
Yeah, I
don't
think
know
I would
what you're
trust the zoo
doing.
over the circus.
What are you doing?"
yeah. I think they're using the reptile house as the front. Whenever they enter the zoo, I think that's where the reptile house is at the Los Angeles Zoo. I
Oh,
can't remember
sure.
for
And this
sure.
is the Los Angeles
That
Zoo, which I
it
don't know
is.
if I've been to. But
Oh, and this is the
I
only one that's
100%.
not
It's
in New
the
York.
worst zoo on the planet. It's
yeah,
horrible.
San Diego
Mid.
Zoo is
Yeah.
notoriously one of the best zoos on the planet.
Yes,
but-
it is.
Except for that one time when they tried to bring a T-Rex from Isla Nublar. That was a mistake.
Right. And then San Francisco, they had those whales that, Star Trek
Yeah.
had to come in.
And a
Oh,
Godzilla attack. It was
God,
terrible.
God,
San
all this
Francisco
stuff in
Aquarium.
San
California.
Francisco also got monkeyed later in the future, technically. That's where we get
Right,
Sean.
Right. That's where
Yeah.
James Franco lives, right?
That's right, where he studies Alzheimer's.
Saint
Dr. James
Francis.
Dr.
I
Fran-
give you the medallion.
James Francis?
James Francis.
Yeah, that was Brent, right?
That was the actor Brent. Yeah.
No one mentioned Brent. No one loved Brent,
Poor Brent,
in this movie. They didn't call
There-
back to
Well,
him.
they didn't know Brent as well. Like Zira and Cornelius, they're like, Brent's okay.
He's
but
got
we
like a
love
worse
him."
Taylor.
Here's
Yeah.
how this movie could have been perfect. I'm so glad you guys just brought this up. If the paranoia of these constant briefings and meetings led to them going, wait, how do they know about Taylor? Something's wrong. let's bring our man in a full uniform. Brent had come in going like, what seems to be the matter? And they're like, we're sending you up after the craft to check it out, blah, blah, blah. Like if it had
that would
been
be
that
wild.
set up-y, I would have died.
That would have been sick, actually.
Then he would have known, or he met Zira and Cornelius in the past.
No, they
Well,
don't.
I guess
He's in a separate room. Like, you're going to go and check on Taylor.
he doesn't know that that's the reasoning. He's just getting the mission briefing of you're going up to check on the spacecraft. Yeah,
he walks out of the
how it
president's
happened.
office as hurting them walks in, and it's like, you got it, Chief. I'm going on my mission.
Yes.
But they do say in this
Cornelius
one,
is in a suit, so he can't tell.
Right.
yeah, they do say like one of our two spaceships that were lost has come back. So that's the only time they mention Brent,
That's
basically.
true. That's so
Wow.
true. Yeah. Wow.
Dang. All right.
Weird
What a-
movie.
What a timeline. Yeah. I wanted more
Here's
fish
what
out
I
of
would
water,
say.
though. Like, bring me your fastest horse. Well, what's a
Yes.
car? Because they don't have that, but...
Right.
This movie does not pass my party test because I think this is too engaging, whereas it's not enough weird imagery. I think you would see the fashion show with the apes and laugh, but it's not as wild as, is this man being interrogated by a bunch of people with giant brains and are they taking their masks off? Like, what is this? Like, that's wild.
Yeah.
This movie's not wild, but it's great and interesting. So.
See, what I would have liked...
party test. The rest of it is not. It's courtroom and walking around the Los
Yeah.
Angeles Pier.
Yeah, that's
Long Beach.
just not as exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was in charge of the Apes franchise, what I would have done, instead of having such a sad ending, I would have a spin-off sitcom where it's about Zira and Cornelius living with the humans, and they got to fit into human society.
Man, Meet the Apers. Yeah, like
Meet the Apers, yeah.
That would have been how the TV show
We talked about
survived.
fucking Flintstones, or you just basically pitched that Safe Auto caveman sitcom, whatever that fucking thing was.
But imagine like in the 70s, if that was a sitcom, like people love that. They'd be like,
Oh
tune
my
in
God.
every
I
week
would love
for
that.
Zira and Cornelius, the two apes that live among
And
the
every
humans.
episode is them going like, "We're throwing a cocktail party. What is this cocktail?" They're just like, that's the shenanigans. You're like,
Yeah.
great.
Starting a job down at the bank. Like, okay.
And every 4 episodes, Brett guest stars, and he comes down and he's like, "I'm home," and they're like, "Commander Brett."
Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
Charlton Heston guest stars as one episode. Yeah.
Very pro gun rights.
Right.
Yep. Oh, man.
I could see it.
Cornelius,
Honestly-
I'm taking you to the shooting range. Come on, let's ditch Zira.
I think, thanks for showing me how to use that gun. I killed a scientist last
Of
week.
course. And he probably deserved it.
Sure did.
Can't trust anyone over 30.
I hit him right on the head, but I'm so strong.
Oh my God. I killed an orderly too. That would be the best show. Cause for me, my final is like that middle section of the shopping montage and the parties. And like, that's like some of like the best cinema. Like, it's just so fun seeing the apes in modern society. So if that was the spin-off,
So, I mean,
like,
if you had
that
a
would have
whole
done really
sitcom
well.
of that stuff, it would be great.
It's one of a kind. It's
They
really
have a
one of a
seesaw
kind.
in the living room. Why? It's the 70s. I don't know.
Yeah.
You.
Just having fun with it.
Yeah.
Oh man. But
He dressed like Austin Powers in this. He puts a cravat on at one point. It's wild.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right, measure
Zira
your
Or I
has,
guess
leg.
like,
Ricardo
very
Montalban
fancy-
the whole time. Yeah, Armando.
We got a red,
Zira has like a
red
fancy
turtleneck.
cape and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good fashion in this. Yeah. Very
It
70s.
is.
She does
That
have
was
that
the
cool
70s. Yeah.
cape. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beverly Hotel, baby. Well, that's enough monkey business for me. I don't know
That's
about
the
you guys.
apes. Ape escape.
We
Ape
escaped.
escape. We did it. They escaped. We escaped as well. Normies, we hope you are following along. We know we do have some listeners who have been watching these and commenting to us saying, "Oh my God, I had no idea." That's the fun. That's why we're doing this series. We want more people to see this weird stuff so that you can talk to your friends and be like, "Hey, I know that new Planet of the Apes is in theaters. Do you ever see the third one where a baby monkey in reverse keeps saying mama, mama?"
Right?
Yeah.
The worst version of the Tuscan Raider shot. For sure.
Oh,
Right.
Which is a famous rewind. Yeah. This does not
Sure,
work as
sure.
well as that.
No. God.
But a lot of it does.
So if you have, if you've been following along, write to us at normies_like_us, rate, review, subscribe. Helps us out a lot. Helps out the podcast. Check us out on YouTube. I think we've got do we have the first Apes one up, right, Jacob? At least, right? I think.
Oh
right?
yeah, for sure.
On
So
YouTube,
watch
yeah, those
along.
are
Generally,
there.
the video versions generally come out a week after the audio version, so you have a week
There
to
we
listen
go.
to it on audio. Then you can check out last week's on video.
Watch our quizzes.
Watch our quizzes.
right.
See our beautiful little faces, our little ape faces.
My little
Mhm.
monkey Milo face. My
What if
little
we did? We
glassy
need to do
eyes as
one
I stare
episode.
forward.
What if
Full
we have
makeup.
full ape makeup?
Yeah,
God.
we'll get the masks.
We need those
Ah.
masks. Yeah.
God,
All right.
I'd give anything.
So good. All right.
Well, we've been your hosts. This is Dr. Colin Cornelius.
Dr. Mike Lowe. I'm dead.
And this is Dr. Zira.
Hey. Cool. Well,
Dissect. Dissect.
dissect.
I love to dissect humans. I mean, examine humans.
I mean, examine. I mean, not set up their bodies.
Lobotomy. Catch you later.
Bye.
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 Ooh, ah.